Let's do this. FT Live on a Thursday with Ken Rosenthal joining us in about 20 minutes. Matthew Boyd of the Detroit Tigers and Freddy Peralta's back, a.k.a.
Full Menu Freddy.
Full
But wait,
Menu
is it
Freddy.
Matthew or Matt? Because sometimes I see Matt and sometimes I see Matthew.
There's good news. He is a contender for nicest dude in the sport.
Really?
Crappy.
Nicer than me?
You're not in the sport. Current
I
player.
didn't
Current
retire.
player.
We talked about this. I have yet to
True.
retire.
True. Well, still no. You do not top Woodruff or Kratzy. I think Matthew Boyd might even be nicer than Brandon Woodruff. I don't know if you know him, but he's that high on the list.
I don't know him, but he can't be. I mean, he can't be nicer than Big Woo, but we'll see. He's left-handed, so that's a big part of it.
I'm going to put this in my notes. So the way that we'll do the tiebreaker early on in the season is how many meals has Matthew Boyd bought for human beings randomly at restaurants?
At Cracker Barrel. If he's going to be.
It doesn't have to be
They don't have
Cracker
Cracker
Barrel.
Barrels
We don't
on
have a Cracker Barrel sponsorship, so until that's the case, you
No.
can buy meals for anyone anywhere.
Okay. I mean, I bought
Right.
meals for people. That doesn't make me a nice guy.
Yeah, it does.
Oh,
that helps.
Okay.
It helps
It
your Q
definitely
rating.
helps, but
I
you
just
need
don't
more
tell
help
people
than most
about it.
people.
That's why I buy more meals than most people.
Let's get right into the news, shall we? And
What?
I actually want to start
That's
with
it? We're done?
what do you want?
I don't know. How was your day? I don't know. Trying to think.
I'm trying to
How was
test
your night?
If you
I
want
don't know.
me,
What did
well,
Kratz do last night? I don't know. I'm trying to I don't know. Not Kratz didn't do anything, so it doesn't matter.
Did anyone do it? Okay, raise your hand if you did something incredible last night that is worth talking about before we get to a ton of news in baseball, because I want to try out if the audience just wants us to get straight to some baseball action sometimes. I'm just trying different things out, messing with algorithms.
Me and my
That's
family, we spread 15 yards of mulch around our house.
That's incredible because I hire people for that. You have to do it. That sucks. I've done that as a kid. You've never done that. You've
No.
never done a manual labor in your life.
I was going to say, so breaking news, Corey Seager of the Texas Rangers is going to miss at least 4 weeks with a hamstring strain. He pulled a hammy on his run to second base in last night's game. MRI showed a grade 2 strain.
It was 2 nights ago.
It was 2 nights ago.
He went full sniper too.
Did he?
Like, grabbed it.
Right down.
Arr.
Yeah, well, that's not a fun injury. What?
No, I know.
Let me guess. You played through a grade 2
I never
hammy
pulled a
strain
hammy,
and didn't
so
miss
I don't
a
know.
game.
I never pulled one, so I don't know. If you don't run fast enough, you can't pull one. Tell him, Kratz.
That's not true. You can still pull them. You just
Oh.
get to play through them because nobody gets to see how slow you really are.
Oh,
No, I'm not saying it's not painful, but sometimes you see guys and they pull a hamstring and they're just kind of like, oh, he went, grabbed the hamstring and the one leg hop to second base. So it didn't look like it was fun.
Well, it's not fun for the Rangers because in my mind, it's one of those teams that could have a chance to be relevant for a while. I'm going to play this game all season too with AJ. Like, what month do the Rangers drop out of relevancy? And for me,
What month is it?
right now, it is April, mid-April. But for me, if everything's intact, because they're still a little top-heavy as a team, then they could mess around for a while, right? Like,
Yeah.
DeGrom's healthy, if Seager's healthy, if Semion's healthy, go down the line, right? If Evaldi's healthy,
Low.
so now Seager's hurt already.
Garcia,
That's
Seager's
a huge
out.
loss.
DeGrom doesn't make 32 starts anymore.
No.
Evaldi doesn't make 32 starts anymore.
So this is the problem. Seager's actually a guy who's had some healthy years, and then he's had some injury.
Yeah, Semien
issues.
plays every day, though. I'll give him a ton of credit. He
Yes,
plays
he's
it
an Iron
every
Man.
day. He plays it every day, and that's awesome. But, yeah, it sucks for the Rangers because they're playing well. They're swinging the bats. They're doing a lot of good things. The fans are excited in Texas. I was there a couple weeks ago. A lot of people there talking about the Rangers. But, man, this stinks. Bruce Bochy's a magician, but I don't know if he can find out a trick out of this one.
AJ, you played all the time. Let me ask you this. Okay, let's say as an everyday guy, Simeon's going to play 155 to 162 games. What if you say Simeon's going to hit 30 homers and play 162 games? Would you rather him play 145 games and still hit the 30 homers? Is that the same value?
No, because he's good defensively. He brings a presence to the lineup. I want him out there every day. Every single day.
I agree with you, but I think it's a debate. Like, can you find somebody that can play the other 17 games, and not just Semien as an example, but like all these teams that are like they're mitigating their playing, they're staggering how much, guys get exhausted. Like you can find somebody that's going to play 17 games and add some kind of value to the lineup during those days, or maybe you can't. And that's where I think the Rangers are.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you watch the NBA?
No, never.
Why? I don't either, really. But I'll say this. Load management. Like, what is this load management? Michael Jordan tried to play 82 games every year. These guys tried to play 82 games every year. Now these guys play 1 game a week, and they're like, I got to sit out 2. Because, man, I am tired from that plane flight from Cleveland to Detroit. It is exhausting to have to play the next day. It's that 40-minute flight, man. I can't do it.
Some teams force that hand.
Why? If I'm a paying person and I go to an NBA game, let's say I want to go watch the Lakers, and they have LeBron James, right? Who everyone says is,
and you paid a lot.
And I paid a lot of money to go to this game. And he's like, I'm tired. I don't want to play.
Well, he doesn't say that. The team says
the team says it
they
for him.
schedule off days just like they do in baseball.
Okay,
it's a huge problem in basketball.
It is a huge problem. But the thing about baseball, I don't know how. I think Kratz would agree with me on this. When I came up with Tom Kelly, and we were in the Metrodome, he would always try to give star players days off on the road. Because people think if I'm going to come see Kirby Puckett, Metrodome had a roof, wasn't going to be a rain out, knew we were going to play, Kirby Puckett's going to play at home. I'm driving in from Iowa, I'm driving in from South Dakota, I'm driving in from wherever you live. But I'm a Twins fan, I want to see Kirby Puckett play.
NBA does the same thing. They sit their guys more on the road than they do at home. I guarantee.
But they still sit guys at home.
They do, but I guarantee it's way heavier tilted towards the road with the same concept in mind. I'm the owner of the team. Hey, you need to give your guy a blow in 1 out of the 3 games this week, or that's what the team staff feels. Let's pick that game in Utah.
Utah's a great place.
Well, we'll talk about Utah in a few minutes. But
Kratz, you agree or no?
About what? Utah being a great place, or the fact
No,
about guys should take their off days on the road.
I don't understand off days because I couldn't play that much. I never played that much. So off days were never like, oh, I need a breather. But to me, like as an organization, you have to be able, as a team, you have to be able to get the other guys in games. Where you get them in games is really about giving those guys some type of day off. But NBA load management and MLB load management are different. Like these dudes are showing up in street clothes and sitting on the bench. Like nobody besides Lasting Millage hears a day off for baseball and says, oh, okay, I'll show up at 6:30 then for a 7:00 game.
Is that what he did?
He did that when he was a rookie with the Mets.
Pretty awesome though.
True story.
It's kind of funny.
It's his day off.
He was like, but here's the thing about a day off in baseball. I would get a day off. They'd say you have Sunday off because whoever's pitching and it's a day game after a night game, you've caught 6 in a row and you're getting Sunday off. Fine. Oh, yeah, by the way, be ready to pinch hit in the 9th against the closer when we're losing. Wait, what?
That's fun.
What are we talking about here? Like, no, as you said, day off. Well, that means you still got to be. So it's not really ever a day off. It's always the only day off I was ever told I got was in the 2006 All-Star game. We played 19 innings, the last game of the before the All-Star break. And I caught all 19, and then we flew to Pittsburgh, and Ozzie Galen was our manager, and he was the manager of the All-Star team, and he's like, you're not playing no matter what happens. Unless we get an absolute something crazy happens, you're not going to play, so just enjoy the game.
Did you want to play?
I mean, it was an All-Star game, of course, but at the end of the day, he's like, he's feeding me drinks. And
he was feeding you drinks?
It wasn't the worst thing in the world.
You had a cocktail during the game?
I cheered my ass off for our team. We won. Got Trevor Hoffman in the 9th inning to win.
Did you have a cocktail during the game?
No, maybe. At one point it was a weird situation. It actually almost happened where I was going to have to go play because if we would have tied, we took the lead in the 9th, top of the 9th against, it was Trevor Hoffman. I think Michael Young hit a triple, I think, to give us the lead. And then we had Mariano coming in and Ozzie's like, hey, if they tie the game, you're going to have to pinch hit because somehow we ended up where I was the last guy left. And I think we burned our DH. I don't know how it all played out, but he's like, you're going to have to hit. And I'm like, are you sure about that? And he looked at me and he's like, just go stand up there. I was like, okay. And we
Take pitches.
But it didn't end up happening.
If you had a few cocktails, you could still rip a homer.
I've tested that theory.
And successful, right?
I've tested that theory.
There you go.
Leave it at that.
I will. So just to put a bow on the Rangers, 7-5. Them and the Angels at the top of the division. And it's bunched up right now. Besides Oakland, obviously they're going to lose 110 games. But Houston 6-7, Seattle's 5-8. And Corey Seager himself only had 1 homer so far this year, but 359 average, 469 on base, 538 slug, 9 walks. I mean, OPS over 1,000. Massive loss in my mind. Like you might lose a few more games if you're the Rangers just in a month and change. He is by far their most talented bat. It's not even close.
This is a season-changing thing for a month.
Yeah.
Even in a couple weeks, you can.
And it's at least a month.
You can probably get away with it, right, Kratz, for a couple weeks, but over a month plus, that's season-changing sometimes.
I mean, I don't know where it puts them, but I mean, that's a huge hole to fill. That this guy, and some people be like, he's just off to a hot start. I picked him to be the MVP a few years ago. I really think he has that ability in him. I don't think a lot of people know quite what kind of player he is just because he's not very on Players Weekend. I think he put Seager on the back of his jersey. I
thought he put Kyle's brother, no?
No.
Or did Kyle put
no,
Corey's
brother?
I
think Kyle put Corey's
They
brother.
both put it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they did both put it? I thought he just put Seager.
I do know what you're getting towards.
Yeah.
Not a very talkative guy, so he doesn't really market himself much. Not that he cares, but
he rakes.
He rakes. Nice guy, just shy.
First guy I ever saw using virtual reality before a game.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
On the Dodgers.
Because
the Dodgers bought that. That's Win Reality. They bought it for everyone.
First guy I ever saw using it. It was weird. It was in Fenway.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've ever been to Fenway visiting clubhouse, there's no room. So the clubhouse backs up to literally you can buy a Fenway Frank, walk out the door, and there's a Fenway Frank from me to you.
Yeah.
In an ice cream stand. He's out there before the crowd with the thing on with swinging a bat in the middle of the concession line.
In the middle of the concession
line? It was that close. I mean, there was nobody there. But the guy cooking the Franks, and you got Corey Seager with his Win Reality thing taking hacks. I'm like, what is he doing? They said, that's the new thing. Check it out. You'll see it. You'll start seeing it more and more.
What year was that?
Oh, gosh. I don't know.
Probably
18, 19, something like that, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, they came into spring training, and I tried that out at Brewers camp in spring training. It was pretty cool. I was like, wow, this is awesome. They're like, I think it's going to be a pretty big deal.
Yeah. If I saw Seager doing it, I would copy it. The famous story also is that Bellinger was big on it, and then he stopped. And then people were like, you should go back because he stopped, and then he was down. Anyway, we can commercial that all day.
Be a sponsor, we'll commercial the crap out of it.
I want to get to the Dodgers. True. I want to get to the Dodgers-Giants game. That was fun last night. And actually, before the show even started, Mark Hope in our YouTube chat goes, love the show. Giants fan here. Funny how Kapler didn't walk or at least pitch around Muncy. Was Mad Bum the only one who gave a crap? I agree at this point. When there is a trend, Kratzy, and you're calling balls and strikes or you're talking to your skipper, do you ever bring up, hey, what do we think about scrapping whatever the game plan was? And next day be, let's avoid Muncy. He likes walks anyway. Let's just give him first in the right situation.
Yeah, I think that is I know that's said. You're going to definitely go into I would go into a first game of a series, same as the last game of a series, like, hey, just remember, like, this is the guy we're not going to let beat us. Not that it's the exact same all the time for each guy because they play a lot of matchups. And there's, if you have a big curveball guy, I have no problem going after Muncy. But in a situation where he can beat you, like, there's no way that's the guy that's going to beat me, especially with like 16%. What is it? 16% of his home runs have been against the Giants. Like, it's wild. It's a wild number. So, yes, all the scouting reports are with like other teams and everything. What he does against you matters because that dude is absolutely destroying the Giants.
The first home run he hit yesterday, though, they were ahead and Cobb was dealing. So I get that one.
Sure.
But the second one, I don't know. The first one he went left center, right? It's hard to do in Oracle Park out there in San Francisco, left center. The second one, he looked like he hit it 700. It was like 40-degree launch angle. I mean, it was just straight up and just kept going.
That's the one that doesn't go out. So that tells you how hard he hit it too.
Yeah.
Like when you do that to the water, sorry, like that's the one where it looks like it just hits a wall and the guy catches it in front of the warning track. Left center was, I mean, you go left on left to left center, like, hey, tip your cap. Like he did something, but you can't let him beat you in that second one. Like, and there's no way the pitcher can be like, oh man, he got so lucky. It's such a short porch out there. Like, no, it takes a lot to hit it up against the water.
That was foul territory regular on foul territory regular crime. Second one was off Stripling, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then Stripling gave up another one too.
Did he give up 2?
Yeah.
Strip's struggling right now.
He gave up the Muncy one, and then he gave up one to Trace Thompson.
Oh, yes, you're right. He did. He gave one up to Trace Thompson.
That one against him, I thought they had already pulled him out.
Nope.
I think that was both.
Unfortunately, it was not pulled out of the game by then.
Also, that was a fun game to watch, though, even though it ended up not being close, because it was close early on. And Freddie Freeman had a ridiculous at-bat. I mean, 15 pitch
Muncy's
AB.
homer was off Brebbia.
Oh,
Stripling
so he didn't
only
go
gave
off
up
Stripling?
to Trace Thompson.
Oh, it was off Trace. Okay, fine. My bad.
Righty. I mean, still righty.
Still. Taylor Rogers was pissed.
Was he?
Yeah.
So on Twitter, because now that I'm on Twitter,
Yeah.
I love this because I think we showed it on Foul Territory or so
on
our Twitter thread, and I commented, if you play this game long enough, everyone has one of these where you just take your junk and you're like throw it in the garbage.
Yeah, but I would take the glove out and then like put it up for charity or something. Well, that's a famous glove now.
He probably could do that, but I mean, if you play baseball long enough, you get frustrated or down on yourself enough where you want to burn your stuff and just start over. Like there are days where you come in, you're like about 0 for 15 as a position player, and you're just like, okay, whoever your clubby is, you're like, a clubby, I just want all new shit. I want everything new. Socks, underwear, jockstrap, cup, T-shirt, shoes, catching gear, everything. Let's just start over. And then hopefully it works. And then the next day you go out and get a hit, and you're like, I knew it was that uniform, damn it.
Absolutely. Maybe even get a haircut too.
I like that. Here's Sarah Langs. She said most home runs against a single opponent since the start of 2020. Judge against Baltimore. That makes sense. Max Muncy against San Francisco, and Vladdy Jr.'s up there against Baltimore as well.
Yeah, Baltimore better be glad they moved the fences back.
Exactly. Partially why, and they were going through a rebuild. For me, the Muncy stat is far more impressive than Vladdy or Judge. Muncy's not as much of a home. I mean, he's a home run hitter, but he's not Judge. He's not Vladdy, and it's not Baltimore. Especially looking back at the Baltimore
or New York.
teams.
LA and San Fran are not two of the greatest players. This is the best. My boy Rick Krajewski.
He said 25 of 149 homers in Max Muncy's career, 17% against the Dodgers. 29 of 144 since joining the Dodgers, so that's over 17%. It's a good number. Almost a quarter of his homers come against one team. AKA, if I'm one of you guys, I go to my skipper and I say, fuck this guy. We're not pitching to him.
Well, no. When do we stick him? Have they stuck him yet? I know that's against the rules, but
remember you got
can't throw the guy on purpose except when he hits 25 homers in of his 140 career.
Here's Matthew Moreno. Max Muncy was asked by Kirsten Watson, who's the Dodgers reporter, why he hits so well in SF. Quote, I can't answer that because I don't like this place. It's cold and windy all the time. It was raining the entire game tonight, but I do hit good here. I don't understand why, but I'm not going to complain about it. And that was 2 days ago after that 2 home run game, right?
Sorry, I'm not interrupting you, but Yandy Diaz just went biceps up.
Oh, baby.
For the Rays.
Are we going to – well, no, I was going to say, is the Rays game going to be done by the time –
No, maybe as fast as the games are going. Sorry,
yeah, it'll be 7th inning.
But it's 1-1 for the Rays. They're going for 13. Go ahead.
No, that was it.
Okay.
Max Muncy.
Max Muncy owns the Dodgers. At some point, if you're the Giant, I mean, Max Muncy owns the Giants. If you're the Giants, you think about trading for or getting Max Muncy in free agency and let him.
Yeah, if he ever gets there, the Dodgers always give him those like mini extensions. He's on another one now, so he's probably got 2-3 years left. So they got Darren Ruff back too. That was my favorite thing. Yeah. One of my favorite parts of this week. Darren Ruff last year was traded for 4 players, and he did nothing with the Mets, and I think he hated it. And now he's already back with San Francisco, and his first at-bat back was an RBI double off Kershaw. That is called ownership from GM to GM.
There's certain players that just need to play for certain teams. Mm-hmm. Darren Ruff needs to be a Giant. Brian Shaw, remember the right-handed reliever? He can only pitch for the Guardians. He can only pitch for Tito Francona. Every other team he goes to, they're like, we're going to pass that, DFA. He goes to Cleveland, every game, those 160 games, cutter. Tito's like, you okay? He's like, yep, give me another cutter.
Yep. Something about the air or something like that. But for Darren Ruff, he gives Farhan Zaidi a flex. If he's ever having a drink with Billy Epler of the Mets, the GM, he goes, dude, I roasted you on that deal. And all the time, GMs always say, oh, it's going to take years for us to grade the trade. No. It was A for one team because they got a player for nothing and he came right back. And it's an F for the other team because he was a negative. He didn't do much.
Well, good on him. Good on those Giants.
Yeah, great move. And yes, the Rays are 12-0. They might be 13-0 almost by the time we finish this show. So let's lead things off with our guy Ken Rosenthal, our insider, talking Rays just because they're stealing the show at the moment. Here he is. Ken, 12-0 Rays. They're playing as we speak. What is the latest you're hearing about this ball club? And I'll add on to that question to try and point it in a certain direction. Here's what I'm thinking. If this is going to be potentially a magical season for the Rays, I'm wondering if they're going to make some type of massive splash at the deadline, maybe more so than they've done in the past, especially because I think at one point you said a year or two ago, 2 years ago, they went for Freddie Freeman. So I'm like, this team's maybe capable of opening up the checkbook in the right situation, right?
Well, Scott, if they never lose, they're not going to need any other player. But yes, I would expect that if they're in contention, they would buy. And they have routinely, throughout their history, tried for bigger things. Now, it's kind of different in trades than it is in free agency, but they are willing, I would expect, to make that kind of blockbuster trade, depending on need, of course. But they've got a ton of young players. And you asked me what I'm hearing about them. New. We talked about this the other day, I believe. Certainly their stars, Arraez and Franco, are playing really well. They're getting some unexpected contributions from guys like Luke Raley, Josh Lowe, and their pitching's been exquisite, right? Amazing. The one thing that someone mentioned to me from the Rays this week that I hadn't thought of is that these players have been mostly together for several years now. They've had a few additions here and there, a few subtractions here and there, but it's essentially the core group. And if you go back to spring training, we had the WBC this year when a lot of guys, of course, went to their native countries' teams and were away from spring training. And in the Rays case, you had a split spring training. Remember, they had to start in Orlando because their facility was wiped out by the hurricane. Then they went back to Tampa Bay in the Tropicana Field circumstance that they were in. So with those things going on, potential distractions, I guess you could call them, it was a benefit to them that they have been together. Now, the one thing here that stands out to me above all is their offense. This is a team that has been offensively challenged throughout the years, frankly. And yet, right now, they seem to be in this mode where they are on everything. They are not chasing the way perhaps they have in the past. And it just, everything is clicking for them. So it's great to see. It's great to see any team perform at such a peak level. But one thing we have to remember as well, their starting pitching is elite, and it's every guy in that rotation. We saw a rookie last night in his major league debut, Taj Bradley, come up and pitch really well against the Red Sox. So they're loaded. They've got Glasnow coming back. They've got Bradley in the wings. They're in pretty good shape.
A team that's not in very good shape, Ken, is the Boston Red Sox, who the Rays are currently playing. What is going on in Boston? We've had reporters on, we've had people on, we've asked repeatedly. They're not selling out the ballpark. There's not a lot of enthusiasm right now for the Red Sox up in Boston, and that was the one thing you could always count on is the Red Sox are going to sell out Fenway. So what are they doing up there, and what's their next step?
Great question, AJ, and I'm not exactly sure how this is going to play out. Clearly, they've had some injuries. Trevor Story being one. Duval, of course, was red hot in that Detroit series. Then he gets hurt. But last night, they had Yu Chang at second and Bobby Dahlbeck at short. Now, under any circumstances, that is not exactly what you want. Bobby Dahlbeck is a first baseman for the most part. And yes, the injuries contributed to that. They've had to move pieces around. Yoshida was unavailable last night due to a hamstring. But even when whole, this is a patchwork kind of team. This is a team that signed a lot of short-term free agents. Justin Turner, Kenley Jansen, right down the list. Chris Martin was another one. And their core is not what it once was. If you go back to 2013, you guys remember this. They brought in Victor Reno and Johnny Gomes and David Ross. they had a really interesting group of free agents. Mike Napoli was in that group too. And it all clicked, right? Ryan Dempster. Everyone performed at an extremely high level, and they end up winning the World Series. Now, did they win that World Series because of the free agents they brought in? Well, certainly those guys helped, but they were complementary parts. What that team had that this team doesn't have outside of Rafael Devers is a strong core. Pedroia, Ortiz, John Lester, Buchholz was a big part of that then. Even Saltalamacchia was an integral part of that team. They had Bogarts coming up as a rookie right at the end of the season. They had Mookie and Jackie Bradley Jr. in the wings. This team has kind of a mid-level farm system right now, not elite by any stretch of the imagination. So I would ask AJ the same question you're asking. Where are they going with this? And I'm not exactly sure. This is a relatively easy part of the schedule for them. They have the Orioles, the Pirates, the Tigers. Now, obviously, the Rays are not easy, but hey, they've not played that well at all.
Now, talk about middle-of-the-road teams that are kind of patchworking stuff together, maybe going on more of an upswing. What about the Cubs signing Ian Happ?
Well, it's interesting now to see what the Cubs are doing. Remember, Erik, they lost all those guys, right? Bryant and Schwarber and Rizzo. They traded them or they lost them. Baez was another one. And now they've had two players within recent weeks take relatively short extensions, Nico Hoerner and now Ian Happ. And Happ is the more notable because he's eligible for free agency. Hoerner just gave him one free agent year in his ARB years. But Happ, in free agency this offseason, probably could have done really well. But he signed for 3 years, $61 million. He obviously wanted to stay in Chicago and was willing to take less, perhaps because he knows what will happen if he doesn't sign this deal, right? He saw all his teammates go away. So now when they look at their future going forward, they've got Swanson and Hoerner up the middle, signed long-term. They've got Suzuki and they've got Happ in the outfield, two corners, signed long-term. That's a pretty good starting point. I was just talking about the Red Sox lack of core, kind of lack of nothing, really. And yet the Cubs, not a powerhouse by any means, but they've got these four guys in place now. They're obviously going to have to renegotiate with Stroman if they want to keep him. He has an opt-out. But they're in a better place. It's not a great place by any stretch. They're still building, but they're getting there.
Ken, how bad is the offseason going to be for teams looking for position players? Because I'm going through the list, and it's not super sexy at the moment. I know you wrote about it in the windup in the daily newsletter from The Athletic this morning. So pitching-wise, solid. Nola, Arraez, Ohtani's two players, so he counts for the position players. But I saw you wrote Matt Chapman, Teoscar Hernandez, some opt-outs.
Oh, before Ken, you answer this, there's no way the Phillies let Nola walk, right?
Hey, they haven't gotten an extension done, AJ.
Wow.
Now, I agree with that, but
They're the
there's no
Phillies.
deal
They
with
got
the
money. They're
president.
paying everybody.
They have money, but who knows? What if he has a bad year? Do they let him walk at that point? He's been an amazing pitcher for them. He's been great for them. They should not let him walk. I agree with you, but at least as of right now, no extension was done in spring training, and they tried, and they've tabled it. Now, in the same situation, they signed Real Muto a few years back, if you remember. They let him go to free agency and ultimately wound up with him. Could happen with Nola the same way. But to answer Scott's question, the free agent class for position players coming up is as weak as I can remember in several years. And Scott mentioned the names. We have Ohtani at the top, two-way player. He's in a category all his own. Matt Chapman is probably the next best offensive player, followed by Teoscar Hernandez. And after that, it's not great. So if you're a team out there and you're going to be looking for offense this winter, you're probably going to have to find it in some other way unless you're willing to go out and get one of those two or other players. And that puts trades at a premium. It puts pressure on general managers to be bold and creative, something not all of them are at all times. So we're looking at a very interesting offseason coming up once we get through, of course, this regular season and playoffs.
Speaking of defense in Philly, are we for real? Like, is Harper, what you're hearing, is he really going to take an opportunity to play at first? Or is it something that, hey, you know what? I am super bored because I am in the training room for half the day right now. And he shows up and takes some balls at first base.
Erik, I'm sure he's super bored. Bryce Harper, he's energetic. He wants to get back out there. But that was a fantastic story by Matt Gelb of The Athletic today, detailing how he volunteered to go play first if they need him and is willing to do it and is starting to work on it. Remember, the Phillies have lost Rhys Hoskins and his backup, Derek Hall, both to injuries. So they will have a need potentially at first base by the time Bryce Harper comes back. Hoskins is out for the season. And it says a lot about Bryce Harper, if you ask me, that he's willing to do this. Not all players would be. A lot of them would be, but not all of them. And it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out because right now, as I mentioned, they have a definite need. And when he comes back, you can still go Schwarber in the outfield, Castellanos, and do what you need to do there, and then have Harper at first if you want to go about it in that sense.
It makes sense for the Phillies. If he can do it, it totally makes sense. You lose Hoskins, who do you fill him in with? Bryce Harper? Not a bad trade. Just saying, they don't even have to make a trade.
Too.
He can do it.
You know he can handle it.
He can do it. He's athletic enough. As long as he can throw. There's more throwing, though, I think, than people realize at first base.
Mm-hmm. You know what? One thing we should mention, guys, and you guys can speak to this too. First base, in the eyes of a lot of fans, I think, is an easy position to play. It's not that easy. And there's footwork involved. There are a lot of different plays you have to be conscious of, bunts, all these kinds of things, cutoffs as well. And it takes a little bit. We saw Schwarber a few years ago, who was a pretty good athlete, certainly a knowledgeable guy. And it was difficult for him in Boston. So I assume if Bryce starts working on it now and is back in 2 months, he would have the gist of it down. But it's not as simple as just catching the ball after the second baseman throws it to you on a ground ball.
Now, Ken, we've spent a lot of time together at baseball games, Major League Baseball games. You're down in the sidelines. I know how much alcohol you drink during those games. So now that some teams have decided to keep selling beer to the 8th inning, I mean, it used to stop for you at the 7th, and you would just be unable to speak after the 7th. Now you have all the way till the 8th. I can't wait to see what you do in the 8th inning.
Well, AJ, you'll have to see and wait for yourself to see that. But I don't barely drink at all, so we're not going to see much. Coke Zero is a big deal for me. But it actually raises an interesting question. I don't know if you guys saw the comments from Matt Strom. The original reason for cutting off beer sales early on was what? To make sure fans got home safely. Now, all of a sudden, with faster games, teams are saying, we maybe want to stay open a few more innings to sell more beer. That would seem to run counter to the original idea of cutting off beer sales, which was fan safety. So it's going to be interesting to hear baseball's explanation for this and the team's explanation for this, because it runs counter to what the idea is behind cutting off beer sales, and that's to keep fans from driving home drunk and all of those things. Now, teams might say, and the league might say, well, they can go drink elsewhere. Well, that's fine. They can. But why'd you cut off beer sales initially? We know the answer, and we know the answer to why now teams are allowing them to go later, because there isn't as much time for fans to purchase beer at the concession stands. It's, in my view, a problem right now, and it's a problem that the Commissioner Rob Manfred initially said was not going to be a problem because he said concession sales would be approximately the same. If that's the case, then why are teams doing this?
So we know it's all about money. That's obvious. But I will present a counterpoint just because this rule has been in place for such a long time in baseball.
It's not a rule.
Okay, well, clearly
it was never a rule. No, it was never a rule.
It's a practice.
Yeah, it was never a rule on the books, though. That's the thing.
But it started a long time ago at this point. And times have changed a little bit. There are Ubers. It is definitely easier to get out that way. Also, I know we don't have to give too much credit to everyone, but if you go with a group and you are an adult, please drink responsibly just like you would anywhere else. I think that's obvious. Another point, as many of these ballparks are trying to extend these villages around, say like the Braves do. I mean, fans, I see it. I've been to a million Braves games already. After the game, they go to restaurants, bars, whatever, and they're in the same position. And as soon as their day ends there, they're driving home or they're getting a ride home. So same thing applies. They're not monitoring that. And lastly, I would say, I know this is not easy to perform, but throw some extra DUI checks, get some extra cops around so that you can put those in place too, to send a warning message that, hey, we're doing this for you, to extend this for you. And also as the league, we like making money, but you need to be responsible with it or it will be taken away.
Scott, those are all fair points. And this is a discussion certainly worth having. The league and its people and the teams and all of that. But I will go back to the original thing here. You cut off beer sales initially for a reason. Now you're extending them. And you're extending them in a year in which the pitch clock is speeding up games. If you're extending them, well, okay, that's fine. Tell us and admit to us why you're extending them, because you're concerned about money. That's the reason. That's the only reason. All the things you just cited, Scott, you could have cited that 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. But now, all of a sudden, when you have fewer opportunities to purchase beer, or at least not as long a game to purchase beer in, suddenly teams are extending the window. I think we all know the answer why.
Because Major League Baseball, it's all about winning and nothing about winning. It's about that bottom line, Ken, as you know. When there's no drinking, they're gonna keep drinking. One place where the drinking is not huge, Salt Lake City.
There's a lot of rules there.
There's a ton of rules about drinking. You got to be a member. I played there 3 years in AAA, and you had to be a member of a club in order to go into a bar, and you had to buy a membership, and it's a cover charge, really, but they call it a membership charge. They want to get a team. Now, I loved playing in Salt Lake City. I thought it was awesome. But can they support a big league team?
That would be my question, AJ, certainly. And I haven't looked at their demographics closely enough, and I don't really know exactly where they stand, market size, and all of these questions. But to me, I appreciate any place that says we want Major League Baseball and gets after it. At the same time, are they the number one site baseball would be looking at? I don't believe so. I would think that Vegas is ahead of them. Nashville's ahead of them. Charlotte's an interesting place.
Vegas already has the A's. Vegas already has the A's. Let's just go ahead and
all right.
Okay.
All right. Even if we assume that Vegas gets the A's, Nashville to me seems to be one of the teams or one of the cities that they'll be looking at. And you can look at other cities as well. Now, Salt Lake might prove to be the most viable of all. Is it better than Portland? I don't know. I couldn't tell you that. But for baseball, and from their perspective, the more the merrier. The more cities that are interested, the better you can make a decision on which place you want to go to, and the better obvious choice you have when going forward.
Ken, does this give MLB leverage, which is their favorite word most likely, to charge even more for an expansion franchise with all of these cities interested in bringing in a team?
I thought their favorite word was money. We just had this kind of, which means leverage, which means, yeah, so they're wanting the same word.
Group together.
They're the same word.
Yes, but I know, they put a rate down, but if I'm them, I'm going up. Rate just went up. Another city involved.
Scott, I'm not sure if it changes that. I would imagine they would like it to change that, but the expansion fee is going to be what it is for whichever two cities they choose. Now, you could make the case like you're making that the demand drives the price higher, and I guess they could say that. And maybe if you go, just for example, just throwing numbers out there, if the fee you originally wanted was $2 billion and then you raise it to $2.3 billion, does a city drop out at that point? Or does a city kick it up and say, we want it this badly? I don't know how that works, but listen, competition never hurts. And the more the merrier as far as baseball is concerned. I would assume that to be the case.
Ken, you forgot one city in your little thing. Orlando. Orlando.
They want one.
Pat Williams wants one. Bad. He gave me the whole grand tour where he wants to put it.
Can they support it?
We have enough tourists.
How did the Magic do?
Magic do fine, but they stink every year, so nobody cares.
Okay.
But here's the thing. If you put it where...
Here's my concern with Orlando. I know
Don't say Tampa. Don't say Tampa.
Well, I'm not saying Tampa. I'm saying,
what's Tampa?
How are the two teams in Florida faring at the gate? Not great. So I would be concerned about putting a third team in that state. Although Orlando is a little bit of a different animal.
Yes.
It's still, 90 miles from Tampa, right? I don't know how you can do that.
What do you mean? The Mets and the Yankees aren't 90 miles apart?
Are the same number of people in the Tampa-Orlando corridor as New York? I don't believe
San Francisco and Oakland are 90 miles apart.
Good try.
Population
you might
higher.
Hey, I'm on the committee, so let's go. Go Orlando. Dreamers. Go Dreamers. No, I'm just kidding.
If AJ buys half the tickets each day,
half
would
of
guarantee.
Them?
Yeah, you fill up half the ballpark.
It's a lot of tickets.
Okay, I want to ask about trades here, Ken. There's two, because fans love to grade trades instantly, and then even within a year, they like to say, "Oh, this team won the trade. This team lost the trade." So I've got two for you. First off, Darren Ruff's first at bat back with the Giants, RBI double off of Clayton Kershaw. That's 4 players for Darren Ruff who did not perform with the Mets, swings back over to San Francisco. I'm sure he'll be fine again. And these guys said, oh, he's just comfortable there. This has to be one of those one-up situations where at some point, winter meetings, Far Anxiety is going to be sitting down with Billy Epler and be like, got you.
I don't know that Far Anxiety would ever say that, but that trade, even the day it was made, the fault was the Mets gave up quite a bit. And there were some minor leaguers in there, and they were quality guys. And now, obviously, Ruff did not work out in New York for whatever reasons. This kind of thing happened, and now he's back in San Francisco. We'll see how he does, but that looks to be a win-win for the Giants. There's not much doubt about that.
And lastly, the Pablo Lopez for Luis Arraez trade. Arraez with the cycle the other day, he's hitting $1 billion. Pablo Lopez has looked really good. Safe to call this a very win-win, at least on the short term, for teams that had needs?
At least in the first 2 weeks, we can say that. And it was interesting to me on the night that Arraez hit for the cycle, Pablo Lopez retired 23 in a row against the White Sox, had a great night, 10 strikeouts. And he was the top of the rotation starter the Twins needed. Arraez is the offensive tool that the Marlins needed. Now, there were other players in this trade, 2 more players that went back to Minnesota because Lopez had 1 fewer year of control than Arraez. Lopez for 2 more years, Arraez for 3. And one of the players that the Twins acquired was Jose Salas, minor league infielder. He's a prospect. We don't know if he's going to be a big-time guy or not, but he is a guy with a chance. There was another player, a third player, also that went to the Twins, but Salas was the bigger prize. And if this turns out that Lopez is really good and Arraez is really good, that ultimately is what decides this. But if Salas also turns out to be really good, then the Twins win this thing in a big way. What was also interesting to me about this one is that when that trade was announced, and Scott, you're right, people like to analyze these things right away, as difficult as that might be. Twins fans were not all that happy to lose Arraez. A lot of Twins fans weren't because he is such a fun player to watch and such a good player, obviously. And Lopez was not exactly a sure thing. He had some issues in 21, shoulder, and then second half of last year, not great. But these are the assessments that clubs make. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. Even for the Marlins, there were questions here. Because remember, Arraez is playing second base. Twins didn't like him at second base. They worried about his leg issues as well. He's not great defensively there. And yet, right now, for the Marlins, even though it forced them to move Jazz Chisholm to center field, it seems to be working. And actually, they've played pretty well so far. Just won 2 of 3 in Philadelphia. And we'll see where it goes. But yes, so far, so good for both.
I'm with you. I love Arraez. Great player. Marlins offense has been terrible for years. He's a kind of, I think, a winning player, guy you'd want in a playoff. No? All right, well, let's let Ken go.
We'll let Ken go. We'll discuss this because I think the Twins won this deal.
Okay, fine. We'll get into it.
We'll give you the reasons.
Ken, good stuff. We'll see you next weekend on Fair Territory.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great game this weekend, Ken.
Thanks, AJ. Talk to you soon.
All right. Okay, go ahead.
I think the Twins won.
Clearly won?
Yes.
Luis Arraez is
great.
A fantastic hitter.
It's great. He is. He won the batting title. I get it.
So what's the problem?
The Twins needed pitching, and Pablo Lopez is a top-of-the-rotation guy, and those guys are harder to find than a guy that can hit.
Except for the Marlins, because they've been able to pump out
They had Stanton, Yelich, Real Muto, D. Gordon, and they didn't win nothing.
That was a while ago, and that was when it was tilted. Now, in the past 5 to 7 years, they have had good pitching and no offense.
I'll take pitching over. You have to have some offense. But for a team like the Twins that sucked, and I mean sucked last year pitching, they had to find guys that could give them more than 4 innings. Pablo Lopez is that guy. So for them, if they have to give Arraez, a guy who was playing out of position at first base, and last year was basically a singles hitter. He led second, I think, in baseball in singles. He was a singles guy. No power, no slug. To give him up and say, hey, we can get Pablo Lopez as the ability to be a top-of-the-rotation guy and get 2 more players – Twins killed him on this deal.
Let me ask you this. Do the Marlins win more games this year with Pablo Lopez on their team for a full season or Luis Arraez, given what they have and that they can fill a pitching spot better than most?
They're not making the playoffs. Who cares? Correct? I don't care.
I would put this question back on you, Scott. What makes Arraez you're like, oh, I love this guy. What makes him what do you like about him?
Ask Rocco Baldelli. He controls at bats differently from almost any player in the bigs. He gets on base, too. He'll take a walk here and there. And his contact skills. I mean, he's a top at least 3 contact player in the league, in a league where still it's strikeout city. So, yes, it's a team that generally you don't even expect to make the playoffs. He's a winning player, though, in clutch situations. It's a guy I want up because I know his chances of striking out are much lower than almost any other ball player. The Marlins have had just no offense. They need a kickstart. And this is a guy that's at least going to get on base consistently. It's not just the batting average, it's the on base. So I just
his on
think
base isn't great, though.
it's pretty good.
Yeah, because he hits over 300, but his on base isn't like 420.
So here's my thing. When I go into a series, and I'm going to say, we talked about it with Muncy a little bit. I'm going to say, okay, who's going to beat us? If Arraez is going to hit 139 singles, I'm totally fine with it. Like look back at the Giants back when Posey was the catcher. He would let you hit 3 singles because most likely they're going to get 3 outs during that time. And so if a guy's only going to hurt you with singles, I get it. Hey, he's off to a hot start. He's probably not going to hit 500 with a 558 OPS and a 1253 OPS total. You know,
his current line.
His current line. Now, the OPS for his career at 800 is good. He's not a guy who can anchor your lineup. He's not a guy that is going to be like, man, you know what we need? We need a rise in this situation. But
although
I disagree. I disagree with that.
I don't.
I disagree with that part.
I'm still mad at Luis Arraez too, by the way.
I need a knock. I'll get to that in a sec. I need a knock, Luis Arraez. I need a guy to get on base. I need to make contact. It's clutch late in a situation. Luis Arraez. I feel good.
Okay. How many situations are you going to have like that in Miami?
Do you always need a home run? How many situations?
You don't always need a home run.
They have to.
No,
you don't always need a home run. And I think, yes, power obviously is still going to be a huge part of the game, but even more baseballs probably get through for him nowadays. No?
Yeah. Great.
Game's changing a little bit.
Hit your 3 singles. As Kratz just
He had
said.
a cycle the other day. Do you know what that means?
He totally did.
I know what a cycle is. Brock Holt had 2 of them. He told us.
He did. Exactly.
So I'm still mad at Luis Arraez. Maybe I have a grudge against him because last year Dylan Cease had a no-hitter and I was calling the game and I said, do not pitch to Luis Arraez. He's the only guy.
I was watching that game.
On the air, I'm like, do not pitch to, just walk him. Just put him on. You're winning 12-0. I don't know what the score was, like 7-0. Just walk him. What does he do? He throws him a strike. He gets a hit. The next guy punches out. I'm like, why? Why?
On a team with Buxton, Correa, Kepler, go down the line.
Kepler, okay. Keep going. Larnick.
The one guy you said don't pitch to.
None of those guys were in the lineup.
Is Luis Arraez.
Right there.
Okay, but
because he was trying to throw a no-hitter, and he's the one guy that could get – only guy that had good swings off him the whole day. Only guy that had a chance.
You're helping my point.
No, I'm not. I'm saying I have a grudge because he got a hit.
Okay, Scott, then I'm going to put it back on you again.
Thank you.
How much do you pay Luis Arraez when he's in free agent? When he's a free agent? Does he get Ian Happ type money? $20 million a year?
I'd rather have Luis Arraez than Ian Happ.
That's not what I asked.
Okay.
So yes, easy answer.
He's going to get $25 million a year. Luis Arraez.
3 years, $60 million.
You think Luis Arraez is beating that?
He's a free agent right after this season.
You're thinking he beats that?
Yes.
No chance.
Write it down, Claudia.
Yes, please. Because is he a free agent at the end of this year?
No. I think he's got multiple years left.
Okay.
No, yeah, he's only got
I can't believe
3
you
years
guys.
of service.
For a guy who's
with some of your old schoolness
for
too,
a guy for okay, no.
Luis Arraez.
His OPS
he's such a different
not anti.
player.
No, we're not. He's a great player, but he's not a guy that you're going to put your franchise in. Okay, let's go here. His career high in home runs, 8. That was last year. 8. Okay, his career high in RBIs, 49. Okay. 316, he hit 375 OBP, his highest by far. Well, no, he had 399 his first year. 420 slug. Okay. His career
Last year was his second full season. He's 26 years old.
Okay, his career OPS.
He's not a power guy. I don't need everyone to be a power guy. Andrew Benintendi just got 5 years, $75 million.
He's got better numbers than Luis Arraez.
Not that much better. It's the defense. So the defense, that's it. For me, I'd rather have a Luis Arraez at bat than Andrew Benintendi.
Under an 800 OPS
Life's on
his
the
career.
line, Kratzy. Need a knock to stay alive. 2 outs in the 9th. World Series. Benintendi or Arraez?
Alejandro Kirk.
Great. Love him too.
Great.
Love Alejandro Kirk. But
Because he's going to pump at least 15 homers, and he's going to play. He's behind the dish too.
I got a guy on second. I
so-
need a knock.
okay.
Who do you want? Arraez or Benintendi? Tell me.
Who's pitching? Okay, so no, here let's look.
They're both lefty bats. No?
I know. Let's look at this though. Okay, so Andrew Benintendi, this was his 8th year. Last year was his 8th year. He had a 779 OPS.
Mhm.
Luis Arraez had a 799 OPS through basically 2 full years. Okay, Benintendi plays a Gold Glove left field, better wheels, can steal you a base. Okay, 5 years, 75. That's not Ian Happ money. Again, Andrew Benintendi,
You asked
good
me
player.
if I would give him 360.
You would?
360 or 575? Sure, I'll do this. I'll take the 360 or the 575 for a 26-year-old.
I'm not saying. I'm saying when he's a free agent. When he's a free agent.
This offseason, if he was a free agent, he would get that. I got to find what year he's a free agent.
He's got 3. He's just got under just 4 years, so he won't be a free agent for 2 full seasons yet.
Claudia, please make sure that you wrote this down so we can go back to this when he's
Also, for the record,
mm-hmm.
OPS plus is the number I go off of for offense.
Okay. OPS plus.
Because that's adjusting on your league, your ballpark. It's not a complicated statistic.
Okay.
It's not in-depth analytics. Agree? And it's very easy for fans to understand 100's league average. Last year, Benintendi 110.
Mm-hmm. It was also
Arraez,
hurt.
128.
Benintendi missed a lot of time. He was hurt.
Since when are you giving credit to guys that have
I'm not.
injuries?
I'm just saying. I am just saying.
Benintendi is what he is. I like him. He's a nice ball player. For me, I think Arraez still has even a higher ceiling. So he is currently at a 236 OPS plus in his first 2 weeks in the season.
We're comparing him to other position players. The trade was for a starting pitcher who's now anchoring that rotation, and every single day that Pablo Lopez is coming. Let's say the Twins lose 3 or 4, and then it's PD Pablo's day. You know what you're doing? You might give a Rocco Baldelli speech. You might come out and be like, guys, let's go. This is the day you got to figure it out. And you're like, it's because Pablo's pitching. Like,
That's
we
right.
got this one.
The owners always know, or I mean, not the owners, the managers. You have to pick the right time to give those rah-rah speeches. Usually, you're playing a bad team, and you got your ace on the mound. You're like, we suck. Let's freaking go, boys. Throw a table over. You're like, oh yeah. By the way, our ace is throwing tomorrow against the A's. Oh yeah, let's go.
I've got comments. Okay.
Okay, let's hear them.
Valley Baseball Scout said we talk an awful lot about Arraez on this show, but I'll take Rosenthal every day. Okay, he had a cycle the other day. We're going to talk about him for a little. JS9 Innings, who's going to join us later on the show. Scott, I completely agree. I would give Arraez the bag. Arguably the best contact hitter in the league.
Man,
Thank
it's
you.
overrated. I never got paid, and I was a great contact hitter.
You did get paid.
No, but not $20 million a year.
The game has changed, AJ.
Yeah,
they changed that
don't
much.
get off my lawn, AJ. Don't be that guy.
Stop it.
You made many millions.
Jackson, Benintendi swings a rolled-up newspaper.
So does Arraez.
I think you guys are, yeah,
and it's a wet newspaper.
I think you got it right.
As someone that swung one, I know what a wet newspaper is.
I think you guys are undervaluing Luis Arraez. And
okay. I mean, Benintendi's got a World Series.
When our next guest comes in, I'm going to ask about him because I'm sure he's faced him a decent amount. Matthew Boyd is going to join us within the next minute or two.
Okay.
He's been in the AL Central quite a bit, and here he is. Let's bring him on. Matthew Boyd of the Detroit Tigers joining us on FT Live right now. Matthew, great to see you. Where are you, by the way? You in the hotel room?
Yeah. What's up, guys? Yeah, in the hotel room in Toronto.
Are you at the 2 Seasons in Toronto?
No, we used to be. We're at the Ritz now. We're real down.
Oh, nice.
go.
Tell what's her name? Mitzi. Hi.
Who's that?
The hotel lady at the Ritz, Mitzi.
It's the same person
I
for
think
years?
it was a couple years ago.
Oh.
I went up there one day and she gave me a good rate on a hotel. So love you, Mitzi.
Oh, after.
After but when I was playing, she was the lady.
Yep.
And then we went
like
there.
The manager?
Yeah. And then when we went there again, I called her and said, hey, Mitzi, I'm coming in with my family. And she's like, oh,
Hooked you up
take
with
care
a
of you.
friends and family?
Love you, Mitzi.
There you go. Love you, Mitzi. Hey, Matthew, to finish our debate here, have you faced Luis Arraez, and do you think that he's a guy who would get significant money if he was a free agent suddenly in the offseason?
I mean, the game's changing right now, for sure. And I think it favors the contact guy, the guy that can get on base. You know, there's so many ways to get to second base. Those are being re-explored, if you will, right now. So I mean, I think so. He's a guy that doesn't strike out and he gets on base a ton, and I think that's he controls the strike zone well. He's a tough out. I mean, I'd want him on my team for sure.
So who would you rather face? Luis Arraez, contact guy, going to slap a single to left, or Miggy in his prime that's going to take you deep 500 times?
How is that a question?
What?
I mean, nothing. I gotta say nothing against Luis, but I mean, I don't want to face Miggy.
Well, there's your answer.
Contact.
Yeah, blue contact.
AJ just rigs
Miggy was the
questions.
contact guy with power,
Yeah,
exactly.
Too. So it's like, gosh, it's not a fun matchup for anybody.
No, that's not a fair comparison. I want to ask you about Toronto because first off, I was shocked. It took almost 2 weeks for them to have their home opener. I'm like, can they be home like earlier on in their season? But it's been, I'm sure, electric there. So first part, what do you think of the renovations in person? Does it look very different? And you were in that organization too years back, right?
Yeah. No, it's cool. I know. I love this place because it's like I debuted here. I got to play in my first playoff game here last year. But it looks awesome. They did a great job with it. It just, it was like it looks like a complete ballpark now. You don't have that kind of how the stadium used to shift over a little bit for football and whatnot. It looks seamless. It looks nice. I think that the fences ended up moving in a little bit too. So that's that's never nice for a pitcher. But I mean, it looks amazing, and it's always a great atmosphere here.
Hey, was there a beer that fell in the bullpen or something? I know some of the guys were talking about on the Tigers because, hey, I think everything's closer now. So no offense, the Tigers and the Blue Jays don't have a strong rivalry. I'm worried about like Yankees or Red Sox if there's such closeness there. What happened and what did the guys say?
I don't know. Actually, I missed that. If that happened last night, I missed it. I could see it happening though with how the game was going late there, and they made their comeback. I mean, yeah, they're right on you, and those are like I think it's the only section of bleacher seats right there, is right behind the bullpen. So, like I could see that getting pretty heated for a AL East division, rivalry game and whatnot, and because they're before you had that like 15-foot buffer. They're so high above you, you didn't have to really worry about too much. But now you're kind of eye level with everyone out there. Like just going out there to be with the guys when they're warming up before the game. I mean, they're letting you have it pretty good. So that'll be interesting out there, especially when the Yankees are in town and whatnot.
Do they still jump on the dugouts? The dugouts, because they have the metal dugouts in Toronto, and they're they have like cheerleaders, and they're like jumping, and it sounds like the dugout's going to collapse on your head. They still do that?
Thing. Yeah,
let's go.
On it. Boom,
Blue
boom, boom,
Jays,
boom.
and they're boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And then you're like, ah!
It's exactly that. Tin roof, yeah.
I do have an honest question. You can tell me it's none of my business, but I mean, that's fine. You debuted with the Blue Jays in 2015. They make the playoffs. You didn't get a playoff share. To me, that bothers me. Now, people that don't know out there, when you play for a team that makes the playoffs, you have a vote from the guys that get a full share, and they vote for guys to get money. Basically, when you lose in the playoff, depending on where you finish, you get money. So the farther you go, you get more money. And you try to get every single guy that played an inning for you. If you pitch one inning, you're like, okay, well, this guy gets $500, whatever it is, right? So that would bother me. Did it bother you when you were like, did you know better?
I didn't know better. It's a funny story, ironically. Like, so Daniel Norris and I were close coming up. We were so close. He's one of my best friends. But I was, that was my first year in the big leagues. I was a 6th round senior sign. So I signed for, very little, comparatively to some people. And so what I made that year was just like, that was just what we were living off of. So I was actually working a desk job for my uncle. And Norris calls me and he's like, hey, he's like, dude, check your bank account. And I'm all excited. So I pick up the phone and I check it, and I'm like, what am I looking for, man? He's like, no, you see it? I'm like, no, I don't see it. What am I looking for? And it was, I was oblivious to.
No,
I will say this. Everybody on that team was awesome to me. Everyone was a great guy. I was there for 2 starts. I wasn't even in big league spring training, to give guys benefit of the doubt. Like I was an unknown to a lot of people. It was my second full season. It was my second, full season in the minors, third season, and third pro season. I debuted fast. So I could see how it slipped through the cracks. And it's it's different, but it's all good. I don't hold
You're too
any
nice.
ill will to any of those.
You're too nice. You're too nice. You're way, way too nice.
No,
So
I know exactly. Yeah, you know
he's way too
exactly who
nice.
was running that meeting
Yeah.
too. That was
Batista,
Joey Bats,
yeah.
and he
He wanted
owes
that
you.
500. He wanted that $500.
He owes you next time you see him, and it's okay if you get it from him, and you can call all the rest of those dudes because they traded you for D Price, who ended up helping them.
True.
Like that's a
Yeah.
quarter share in my book.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Although you guys
it was-
didn't win anyway, I got the ring to prove it that we won
Yeah,
that
you,
year.
you
So
do. You do. I know. That was a playoff series, man. But
Have you stayed in Daniel Norris's van?
Never stayed in it with him. I mean, that'd be tight quarters, and that thing smells so bad. It is rancid in there. The guy, I love Dino. He's not really known for his hygiene. At times he's a nature man, but yeah, I think it's unique. And there were a few times in Dunedin when we were in spring training, that thing came to a stop, and I had to hop out of the car and push start it, to get it going a little bit. So I was happy to see him upgrade it to an FJ once about his fourth year in the big leagues, he finally got a new car, so that was kind of sick. And now he's driving a nice Defender, but it's sure upgrade. I think he put a 10 on top of the Defender now, so it's a little classier than the old VW van for sure.
nice. That's really nice. I wonder. It probably still stinks though, but you don't need to comment on that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Any car that has a wetsuit dryer in it and all it consists of is holes in the bottom of it to get the water out. I'm not taking his the cleanliness thing on him. Love Dino to death, so happy. Bummed that we don't get to play together anymore, but yeah. Not that kind of guy, with the hygiene.
So that brings me to my question about playing at home. Now, do you guys still live out in like about 20 minutes outside of Seattle?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So that was
last year
sick.
you played at home, and now you're back not at home. How'd you do that? Because as soon as everybody I know plays at home, Mama's like, "Hey, you got to stay. Hey, kids, you got to stay." You're like, "I love sleeping in my bed 7 days, and then
Yeah.
not 7 days." How did you do that? And what was that free agency courting process by the Tigers?
Staying at home was awesome. Playing for the hometown team was a dream come true. Not to mention the fan side of me finally getting to the playoffs, having all my best friends we're on group text and they're constantly texting about the Mariners, and now it's oh, I'm part of that now. We playing for them and whatnot. That was so special. Opportunity just presented itself to come back to Detroit, and it was awesome, man. I'm a big believer in AJ, big believer in Chris Fetter, our pitching coach, and big believer in Scott Harris. When I got the opportunity to sign in San Francisco last year, and chose to go there, it was hugely for the vision they had for me and getting me back to the person I was, prior to my injury, in 2019 and whatnot and 18. And it was the plan that was laid out. It was real exciting, and I got to see the fruits of it. So then when he came to Detroit, pairing that with, a manager I loved playing for and a pitching coach I really liked, I knew that everything was going to get supercharged, if you will. I was going to walk into a new organization, and coupled with the familiarity of Detroit and the people that we love there and the city that we really came to love. And so it was an awesome opportunity when it presented itself, and it was we jumped on it. It's home to us. Our oldest daughter was born there, and she and our oldest son have so many memories there. So it's a cool full circle moment to be back here right now.
Matthew, thank you for saying you're a big fan of mine. I really appreciate it. That's why you went back to Detroit. I know I played a lot of games there, so thank you so much for saying that. It means a lot in my heart. What was it like? You said you signed with the Giants, and then you got traded to the Mariners, but you never pitched for the Giants. So how does that work? Were you thinking the Giants come to you and say, "Okay, you're almost back. Oh, by the way, we're going to trade you to your hometown team"? Were you like, "Yeah"?
It was for sure a weird scenario. Not something I thought about at all. As the deadline came about, I was getting ready for my first live VP. I had a setback a few weeks earlier. So it was finally time has come. Here it is. Finally get to go do this. I'm feeling good. and I had a missed phone call from Scott, had a missed phone call from Cap, and I was like, it was one day that I was taking a little longer at home. Like, it was probably like 2:00. I was like, I'm not doing anything today. I'm pitching tomorrow. So let's just, I'll stay a little later, hang out with the kids a little bit before they go down for a nap. And I was like, dang, everyone's noticing I'm not here. Like, this is crazy. So one day I'm late or whatnot. And sure enough, last thing on my radar was that I was going to get traded. And then here to get traded I was getting traded to the hometown team that was, really looking good to make the playoffs and everything. I was like, man, this is such a blessing. I'm really grateful for this opportunity. And I mean, a lot of happy tears shared on my family side. We have 4 kids, so all our family's in Seattle. So the idea of bringing the whole family back for a couple extra months to be around them, the grandparents were happy, cousins were happy, and then it's a cherry on top that I get to pitch for the Mariners. So it was really special, man. But something I was not expecting by any means.
And now you're back. Go ahead, Kratzy.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, and you played for free when you went to Seattle, so that was nice, At least you got to stay at home, but all the tickets that you had to pay for were just blowing you up.
You know what the best part about it was is that, like, I've come back. I think I've made like 3 or 4 starts in Seattle in my career, and those days, like, we've got to put a buffer on what we got because I do play. I've played for free for sure there at times, but like being a reliever and like I was pitching, I wasn't pitching the big leverage situations at times, right? That was so sporadic and kind of how I was used, and like because that team was just loaded, that bullpen was loaded, that I didn't have to leave a lot of tickets because everyone asked, when you pitching? I'd be like, man, I don't know. You should just grab a bleacher seat and come down, like Logan's pitching. He's going to do great tonight. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. So being down in the bullpen, I just see all my buddies who were slightly inebriated down there in the pen, and they just come yelling at me every day. And it was a good time for sure.
So now yesterday we had a big debate. Okay, we had Gabe, who's soft but really jacked, and we had a debate with the manager from the Angels, Phil Nevin, who would win in a fight. Now, I don't know if you know Phil at all, but I'm sure you've seen him. Who would win in a fight between Gabe Kapler and AJ? And I got a follow-up based on what your answer is.
Gabe Kapler and AJ?
I'm sorry, Gabe Kapler and Phil.
And Phil Nevin? I mean, gosh, nothing against Phil. I don't know him really well, but I'm sure he's a great guy. I got to go with the guy I played for, though, or at least that was my manager a little bit in San Francisco, right? I think I got to go with Cap just to play it safe.
That's who I thought you'd say. I thought you'd say you're enamored by the fake tan and the bicep curls. Bicep curls don't lift a lot of weight. But anyway, so now I already glimpsed into my other question: who wins, Kapler or AJ Hinch?
Oh, I was gonna say me.
No, not
now,
you. You're
in a fight?
Now I gotta air towards my current manager. I mean, he was a catcher, right? You guys are always the first line of defense. I know that AJ knows it too. It's like you guys are when it hits the fan, you guys are the first one right there taking the blow. So I always going with the catcher on that one.
These guys
and my current manager. I want to go later in the game, so I'm not going to win that if I.
Matthew, you're going to the 6th.
He's smart.
Yeah, you're smart.
He is smart. I want to ask about the Tigers, though. So, another go-round with this ball club, and it's a different regime, too, right? You mentioned Scott Harris now running the ship for the front office, and Al Abdullah was there previously. What are you seeing? Anything different, whether it's from a player development standpoint, a preparation standpoint? Obviously, AJ has now been there for a few years. But what do you think that Scott does to put his stamp on the organization?
I think player development, it's advanced, without getting too nitty gritty into all the details, but player development it is. Pre-game game planning, the player experience, man, it's the things that the whole clubhouse, everything is redone in that sense. There's a lot of resources to help us have success on the field. I think one of the biggest things too is just the understanding of like, hey, here are the things that like given to us from the staff that Matt Boyd can do that are going to get you to the place that you want to be, who we believe you can be, like the best, the optimal version of yourself. And that's like that's been the coolest thing. It's like, hey, Matt, these are things that are like really non-result based goals that are gonna, doing these things, the results on the back of your baseball card are going to be, a symptom of that, right? The good results. And it's like, here's how we think you can be your optimal self. And it goes down the list for everyone. And I think like those little incremental gains that you do that across a roster, everyone buys in, everyone wants to be better in those ways, is really what can elevate you as a team. And obviously we all have our ways to get better right now. Or I don't want to even say we're in a rut. I think we've been in a lot of ball games and ended up on the wrong side of them. And I know it's going to turn for us soon, but it's like, those are the kind of things that I think will separate us. And it's been really cool in that sense to be part of this and to see the change. And I know it's going to benefit us all.
Matthew, you seem like a really nice fella. I've heard that you're one of the nicest fellas in Major League Baseball. Can you tell me? Confirmed from Scott Braun, which means nothing to me. He also lives at my house, so he has to say nice things about me. You have a charity, which I read about because we were having you on today, called Kingdom Home, correct? Can you explain to our listeners and our viewers what Kingdom Home is, where we can donate, where it's located, and just give me the whole thing? Because after reading about it, I'm very interested in this because it's about children.
Yeah. So Kingdom Home, our goal is to end child sex trafficking through prevention. Kingdom Home has over 100 kids from ages 6 to 17 in their care. And our goal is to provide for their spiritual, educational, physical, and needs. And basically, children who are at risk, there's a wide variety of kind of criteria that makes them at risk. We offer them a scholarship to come stay at a home where they're not at risk, where they can have 3 meals a day, where they can have their own bed, where they can get an education, learn God's love, and then get vocational training or further their education in university to essentially break that chain of what is really like an ugly reality, not only in the world, but especially in Uganda. Uganda's average age is, I think, not to misquote it, but I think it's 16 years old of the whole country. And I think in America, it's in the 30s somewhere. So it's a really young population. And because of that, it puts a lot of children at risk. And so Kingdom Home is basically, my wife is the executive director. She got her degree in this. She's worked in numerous sectors of like social justice in the nonprofit world. And in 2018, we had this opportunity to partner with a lady named Dorothy in Uganda who had the same mission. She had 36 girls in her care, and she was in desperate need of help. So we partnered with her, and from it has come Kingdom Home. So it's cool. We went from renting land, and due to the generous support of people around the world, we've purchased a few parcels of land, one being 6 acres with 3 homes on it. It's pretty cool. It's sustainable. So there's solar power on the homes. There's three built homes that have, fit about 40 kids each. And it's a home. It's not an orphanage. It's not a dormitory. Everything's structured like a home. So it's awesome stuff. Our website is kingdomhome.org. You can go on there. There's like a general give page that you can give to kind of wherever the need is, or you can go into the child. You can sponsor a child so it's kind of crazy. For $120 a month, you can provide for a child's all their needs: school, food, living costs to be at that part of Kingdom Home. It's $120 a month. And it's, you think about it, it's like, man, that's kind of crazy. Like how cheap it is compared to, but whatnot, but it provides for all their needs. And that's where you can have on a monthly basis, you can have a relationship with a child. You write letters and whatnot and truly invest in their future. So it's pretty cool stuff. We're getting into the phases now where these, some of these kids, boys and girls, are getting to, need to go to university and whatnot. So we're starting to prepare for that and scholarship funds and whatnot. But we got some cool stuff going on. Check out the website, kingdomhome.org. And thanks for letting me get a chance to talk about that. Yeah, it's something that's special to us, and it's a need that's just like, that whole kind of world is not fun to talk about. It's really dark, but people all over are making a difference. And Ashley and I are called to this corner of Uganda, and we're trying to make our difference in it.
So the homes are actually in Uganda, correct? Not in the States?
Yeah.
So have you been over there? Have you and your wife been over there to see the kids and be a part of it?
Yeah, a couple times. We'll be back over there again. We send teams throughout the year. part of Kingdom Home that continue to visit and do different things, whether it's different medical missions or, educational things or whatnot. So it's awesome. It's such a beautiful country. Uganda is amazing. It's it's the greenest place. I live in the Northwest, and it's greener than the Northwest. It's pretty cool. But amazing people, and like the true heroes though are like Dorothy and the other house parents that are there pouring into these kids day in and day out. Being a house mother, being a house father, just raising these kids right, and it's pretty special.
Matt, really appreciate you explaining it all. And let's finish on a fun note here, just to go back at AJ saying, yes, confirmed. I've covered and been around many players over a decade. Matthew Boyd is at the least top 5 nicest dudes in the game, which is what you want. We put Brandon Woodruff in that top 5 as well. And we were trying to separate it with, do you buy random meals for people sometimes? Like be at a restaurant or a bar? Have you done that? We were just like, Matthew Boyd's probably a guy that's done that because Brandon Woodruff does that.
That's pretty cool. I need to step up my game then. That's pretty awesome. The last guy that did that for me though was Aaron Judge in AAA, and he hit 2 bombs off me the next day. It was horrible.
Wait, what?
I think I need to maybe find wherever the opposing team is and lock myself in for about 12 plus punchies, and it'd be solid.
Judge bought you dinner the night before that?
Yeah, it was crazy. We were in Scranton, and I took my wife from beautiful Toledo to beautiful Scranton, on a trip, and we went to I think a Longhorn Steakhouse, and there was Judge with Judge at the booth behind us, and we played against each other since college. So he's like, "Hey, Maddie," and he walked out, and they're like, "Oh, this is all comped for you," and he got dessert. Dessert was brought to the table, and being a minor leaguer, like, "Oh, this is sick," and then the next day, just 0-2 seam down and away, takes it off the berm, and the next at bat hit a curveball. It was like he earned those 2 right there. It wasn't even trying
karma
to.
homers.
Yeah,
Those
exactly.
Karma homers.
I think he's past the karma homer state now.
I tell you what, Matthew, when I do a Tigers game this year, because I have a couple scheduled for Fox, yeah. I'm going to find you. You can buy me dinner, and then we can talk about it. Yeah, you can buy me dinner. Yeah.
Do a good on the
podcast.
I like that. I like that. Just let me know where you're at, Birmingham or whatever. Yeah, we'll line it up.
Perfect.
I love it. Hey, good luck tonight in Toronto. Enjoy that vibe, and good luck the rest of the season. I'm sure we'll catch you again soon, but thanks for coming on, Matthew. Appreciate it, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.
Awesome. That was a great finisher story, too. I did not expect that.
Aaron Judge. That is karma homers. Yeah. Buy the guy dinner. Yeah, you're facing him the next day, then go deep off him twice. It's a big league move.
That is a big league move.
And he wasn't even in the big leagues yet.
That's what I'm saying. He wasn't even rich
yet. I'm telling you, this is what Aaron Judge is. Like, yes, I get it, dude. Hit, MVP, 62 homers, second MVP, his rookie year, all that stuff. He is this dude. Like, he is that guy. And it needs to be brought out more. So I love that story by Boyd.
There's got to be something wrong. Come on. I mean, before he even makes it to the bigs, he's buying food. I'm saying, there's got to be something he doesn't do well.
He has a character flaw?
Yeah, there's got to be something.
Judge?
Yeah, there's got to be something that
he gets booed in playoff games.
Well, that's a character flaw of his fan base.
True.
That is very different. There's got to be something where it's like, oh, you can't go golfing with him, or what are other character flaws? He's not funny, or is he funny? Does he crack jokes?
Yes.
He's nice as can be, man.
I know he's nice as can be. I'm saying, but you can be super nice and not super funny.
Well, no, but
give me a character flaw. Kratzy, you played with him. There's got to be something where they were like, Judge, you can't do that. He can't. I mean, I'm sure there's got to be a sport. He can't play cards well, or.
I mean, I've never seen him play cards, so I can't say if he's played cards well or not. But no,
I got one.
Go ahead.
He won't text you back to come on the show.
Yes.
No, he changed his number.
Yeah, you can't get it from somebody.
Said it. You changed his number on him.
Look, man, you ain't just getting his number. But this dude gave both my sons a signed bat for Christmas, and my daughter a signed ball because he's like, I don't want her to be left out. He bought Matthew Boyd when he was Matt Boyd. Longhorn Steakhouse for him and his wife. And then he hit 2 homers off him.
That's legendary.
True.
That's amazing. Well, before we get to Freddy Peralta, probably in about 5 minutes, the other dude who's an absolute monster in the league, but he's a rookie, he's going to get a name drop every day until he goes a day without a knock. So I'd like to give a little shout out to Jordan Walker, who is now at 12 consecutive days with a hit or games with a hit. And he joins Eddie Murphy of the 1912 Philadelphia Athletics, which I think Kratzy was broadcasting those games back then.
I loved him in Beverly Hills Cop.
I was going to say, wasn't that?
Not Eddie Murray, Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, I know. I loved him in Beverly Hills Cop.
I know.
Yeah.
Only players since 1900 to have a hit streak of 12 or more before their 21st birthday. And he did say, because I guess there's other records too, he began the series in Colorado by passing Hall of Famer Ted Williams for second on the all-time list to be able to pull off all the hits before you start, or as you're starting your career. He said, I'd be lying to say it wasn't cool. Even if it wasn't my main focus right now, it is still pretty cool to know I have that accomplishment. Watch it start to get a little heated, though, if he gets towards, say, 20. I mean, I guess you could say he could feel pressure that he's doing something nobody's done, but, I mean, he's trying to get hits anyway. You know, it's not like he's going to change his approach or something.
No, but he's been getting those one hits. He hasn't been getting like 2 or 3. He's been getting that 1 for 4 in the 9th inning. I know they count.
Knock's a knock.
I know they count, but I don't think he's going to get to 56.
And I know you guys only value homers. You guys don't like Luis Arraez singles or doubles or walks. But Jordan Walker's pretty good. He's got something called a hit tool, which is my favorite tool in the game by far.
I don't think we ever said we didn't value. There's only one person I ever played around that didn't like home runs. It was Kevin Seitzer, the hitting coach for the Braves.
Yeah.
We had a meeting.
Scythe.
We had a meeting. We had Johnny Gomes, Freddie Freeman, Kelly Johnson, all these guys. Spring training, he calls us into a meeting and says, I'm the new hitting coach, guys, and I hate home runs. I don't want you guys to hit home runs in BP, and I don't want you to hit home runs in the game. And we all laughed at him because we're like, wait, if we hit home runs in the game, those count as points. He's like, I don't like them because then you guys are going to try and hit homers. And I'm like, well, you're stupid.
Did you get in an argument about it?
We all were like, we played with, you've been around Johnny Gomes?
Yes.
Johnny Gomes looked at us, he like stands up and is like, what? Wait, what? Huh? What are you talking about? I love homers.
But I don't get that.
What he was trying to say was, there's a lot of things about Kevin Seitzer I don't get. Well, it's just the tip of the iceberg. But he also said, because the team before struck out a lot, so he was saying it to try to cut down on strikeouts and put the ball in play more, but he just went about it in the worst way possible.
The delivery wasn't there.
Yeah, it was just like terrible.
Okay.
Seitz is incredibly nice guy. Would he say when you were there? Would he say, "I liked him.
Yeah.
I liked him"? Would he say "core tight"? Would he always say "core tight"?
I try not to listen to him after.
Core tight.
There's a whole.
I don't think that's
there.
a phrase. Even if it was recited, AJ would be locked in on. Yeah, core tight.
No, I don't even know what that means.
That's what he would always talk about. It'd be like, "Core tight, oppo." That's what I want you to think about. If you tense your core up, your hands are faster. And then your hands are faster, you can hit the ball oppo, is what Seitz used to say.
Hitting hacks. Core tight sounds like what the Red Sox don't have right now. That Ken Rosenthal said earlier. No core. Hey, let's do our BetMGM locks of the day. And I say it a little somberly. Is that a word? So first, let's look back. We were terrible yesterday. Oof. And when you have a bad day, you wear it. Okay? AJ and me collab part 2 did not go as well as part 1. Jays did win the ball game. They just didn't win by 3. They won by 1. I was rooting for one of those crazy scenarios again.
You said it wasn't going to happen. I'm like, okay, Jansen's going to get a hit, and then whoever was up next is going to go deep. It didn't happen. They won. But...
Brock, Rangers, that's an L. And fighting Phils. I didn't lock in on their game last night, Kratz. I know you obviously fell, but what happened?
Luis Arraez got hot. That's what happened.
Oh, shocker.
Yeah, Luis Arraez, he put the whole team on his back, and he had 19 hits. He was the best player ever.
All singles.
Sorry about it.
19 singles.
It was a back and forth game. I said Wheeler was going to probably give up 2. He gave up 2, and then it was tied. Wheeler gave up 1. The Marlins came back, tied it up at 2, and I think in the 8th, and then they walked it off. I mean, not walked it off. They scored again in the 10th. But yeah, I don't know who. I feel worse about my choice because Brock was just like, hey, which one of my buddies is playing? Like, I was actually trying to get it right.
I know.
And I still got it wrong.
I don't know, but you're catching me quickly on this board.
You guys are close.
Yeah.
I'm owed my last 5. So I
Oof.
think it's because I have a busy schedule. That's what I think it is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Well, let's get back on track. Ready for our BetMGM locks of the day? Who wants to start? I'll start.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You guys didn't raise your hand quickly. I
I
mean, I'm falling off a little bit, and this one has bad karma written all over it.
No.
Okay,
Oh,
I am
no.
going with the Toronto Blue Jays. After they let me down the day before, I'm going Jays run line. So this time though, the run line is 1.5 instead of 2.5. Big difference for me. I think they bounce back. Spencer Turnbull has not looked good. Not only not looked good, you're snapping in my face.
Sorry. Trying to get our interns'
AJ's
attention.
snapping in my face. Holden, they need you.
I need Holden for my pick.
5 walks to 4 strikeouts in his first couple starts. I think I saw something that out of his 70-something pitches, there was 1 whiff in his last start. And
There's all kinds of stuff happening behind you. Don't worry about it.
Thank you. I'm unfazed. This is a team in the Blue Jays that is very capable of blowing teams away. So I just feel like there's a blowout in them pretty soon in front of their home crowd. So I'm going Blue Jays run line. And just your basic, like I do every day,
We love the Blue
125
Jays.
to win a hundo. Let's see what the Blue Jays have for us in this one. And it's bad karma because we just had Matthew Boyd on for the Tigers. But that's my pick. What do you got?
No, I'm going last. I'm like,
Okay,
I have
Kratzy, you
props
go.
now.
Okay, then I'm going second. I got the Cardinals. Now, I'm actually just looking at it. When I put in my bet, the Cardinals were minus 1.5 on the run line at minus 120. So I put in 120 to win 100, but it just changed to minus 105 at 2.5. So I don't know what's happening, but I guess
That's
people
good.
are agreeing with me.
Yes, correct. The line's
So-
moving, and that's good for you, Kratzy. The
So
line's moving.
I'm loving that the line is moving, and I feel like I made a good decision, although everything I touch right now dies. So that's what's happening. But no, I have so much faith in Jordan Montgomery. Monty's going to go out there and continue to just give this team 6+ innings. And I feel like Vince Velasquez is water's going to level out. So I feel like this is a pretty easy opportunity for the Cardinals to win a kind of a big one, maybe like an 8-3 game.
There you go.
Okay.
What's your prop?
So my whole thing, the same thing happened to me, Kratzy. I have Yankees minus 1.5 run line. But when I put it into Claudia, it was minus 140 or plus 140. And then it changed to plus 135. I'm like, what is happening here?
That always happens. The line moved. That's good for you.
No, it's good for me, but still, but if 140 sounds better than 135.
Mhm.
So the reason I'm picking this is because the Twins are playing at the Yankees. The Twins haven't beaten the Yankees since this was a thing.
Mhm. You're talking about the playoffs.
Yeah,
In a playoff
in
series.
regular season playoffs.
No, they've beaten them. In
I
the
mean,
regular
but not a
season.
lot. It
Yeah.
never has. So like since this was a thing, which feel this is like the old ass jersey.
I cannot believe you wore this.
Yeah, this is a real deal.
Those were
it's
terrible.
Oh man,
heavy
these old
blanket.
Russell, by the way, Russell Athletic.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So
Yachty, go ahead, continue.
So that's why I'm just going off Old Faithful. I mean, it's a new
And
year.
Joe Ryan.
Every year it's a new year. You know, a new year. The Twins. It doesn't matter the last 20 years of the Twins not beating the Yankees. Well, eventually it's got to turn around. But right now, I'm rolling with the history.
So you've got no luck for Joe Ryan today, and you're
Well,
on
Joe Ryan.
Brito for the Yankees.
Brito's dealing. Have you seen
He is.
Brito's
No,
numbers?
he's good. I like him. He's got a great changeup.
Here's
off
the thing:
fastball.
Yankees at home,
Yeah.
Twins on the road after a series against the White Sox in their division.
Mm-hmm.
Yankees are going to be sitting at home resting. The Twins might have gone out and got a nice dinner in New York. You know, I don't know where you go
Okay.
now, but
There's plenty of spots. I could
There's
spend a whole show giving you
yes.
spots.
So
let's do our bet 10 to win 200. Sign up and deposit at least $10 into your newly created account. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android if you don't have it. Place a pregame moneyline wager of at least $10 on any MLB team at standard odds price, and you will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly using the bonus code SPICYBALL200. Always bet responsibly. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Got about 30 seconds, and then we will bring on our next guest. I do definitely want to get to the beer sales thing. I know we kicked it around with Ken, so we'll do that later. We have some social stuff we're going to run through. Josh Shiffman, JS9 Innings, has some heavy-hitting questions for you guys.
Deep
But
question.
let's get our questions prepared right now. Our next guest joining us on a roll so far this season, a member of that Milwaukee Brewers rotation, and maybe the head of the pack right now because his boy is down with an injury. We'll ask him about it. Freddy Peralta kicking in right now on FT Live, always smiling. Freddy, great to see you. First off, how's the start to the season on both sides? Give me how you're feeling on the mound because you've looked great. And the Brewers not only look like a strong ball club that's a playoff contender, but you guys are hitting the baseball this year.
Hello, guys. Erik.
Dímelo, tú sabes.
So, like you say, man. So, yeah, we've been great so far. Our offense and defense has been doing great job. We're playing really good baseball, and it make me feel like great because it's what we look all the time for. We look forward to see these kind of games, like enjoy every moment on the field and in the clubhouse is really important too. And that's what we've been doing. And so hopefully that we keep doing that until the end.
What do you got a free breakfast in San Diego? What are you in the Brewers have like a free breakfast room you're in?
Look, yeah. How you know that, man?
Because I can see the coffee pots behind you. Unless you got a room with 3 coffee pots in it, you're at the free breakfast.
So, no. Yeah, I just have my breakfast and there's nobody else here because it's supposed to be in noon. But yeah, the Brewers do a good job with that. So when we are on the road, we have breakfast at the hotels, and it's awesome. It's another little thing for us, like to communicate with the other guys, to have some time like during the breakfast and talk about whatever you need to talk and just part to be connected as a team.
Especially since they don't give you meal money anymore. They got to give you free breakfast.
Hell yeah.
You don't get those cash envelopes on the flight anymore.
No more cash.
Yeah, they give those rooms. They put those rooms down the bottom of the hotels. It is tremendous. That's the best. You don't have to go out anywhere. Awesome. You pick up some granola. Do you get everything. Some granola?
Yeah, granola, omelette, whatever you want, man. Everything's here.
every day. Hey, felicidad para nuevo baby. Congrats on the new baby.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, ¿cómo está Maritza y Freddy Jr. y Nora? Ama su amarito. Congratulations to your wife and everything. How are they doing? How's Maritza? Freddy Jr., Nora, your daughter, and does she love her little brother?
Everything's going great so far. He's eating and sleeping a lot, and Nora is in another level. Crazy. I wasn't expecting this, and she's jealous. She's trying to get the attention all the time. But it's doing a lot of things, doing crazy things. When I was there before come here to San Diego, it was like, my God, what's going on with Nora? She was going the stairs like all the way down, like head down like this. I'm like, hey, what you doing? And it's different. Now we have the new baby, the little boy, and excited about my family. My wife too. She's doing great job with the kids and let's see. I want another one, but she said that we gotta wait. I don't want to wait, but let's see what's gonna happen.
No. Three's too many. Three's too many.
Right.
Two's perfect. I think 2 man to man. 3 you got to go worry about the third one running away. You can't watch all 3. So
you get help. Get help.
Oh.
He has a contract.
Yeah.
Tell him, you can get help. That's allowed. There's people that want to help. You got a nanny. There's help.
You don't have kids. You can't talk.
And I don't have a big ass contract either.
Great point.
That is
great point. But it's awesome, man. Awesome. I'm very grateful about my family. Marisa is doing a great job. We've been together for 10 years, and it's awesome. So excited for what's coming for me.
Hey, Junior, es a gordo baby? Oh,
yeah.
Muy gordo.
9 pounds and 9 ounces. That's why he born like 9 pounds and 9 ounces and 21 inches. It's huge.
Wow.
Big hands.
Big hands?
Huge hands. Yeah.
Probably a big cabeza too, huh?
Normal.
It's normal?
Yeah. Oh God.
Freddy, your fastball velo's up this year. Your starts this year. What Why? You're not fastball Freddy anymore. You're full menu Freddy. But your fastball is way up.
It's you guys' fault, man. Before and during spring training, you just talk about it, and I don't know. It's crazy.
It's the highest of your career as a starter. It's up to almost 95.4. And last game he hit 98 max.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's the highest he's ever had as a starter.
I wasn't expecting that, and I think just about the hard work that we've been putting together, me and the the medical staff, trainers, and all that. They've been doing a great job with me always, but now I put a little more emphasis. I have a meeting during the off season about what I want, and I just put more emphasis in my lower body and do less in my upper body, and that way I keep like more flexible, and it's working great. I just got to keep it that way. Stay healthy for me is the number one point, and we're doing a great job. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to keep doing that routine like every day, but make me feel great because all the time when I have to throw my bullpen or when I'm going out there for the game, it's different. I feel different. Whenever I want to throw a fastball a little harder than what I can, I do it without effort. So, and you can see in the video, like you say. So it's been great so far, and I'm really excited about it, and hopefully to stay like that until we be where we want to be. It's playoff, and then we move from there.
Freddie, you're getting close to your former teammate Josh Hader with your average fastball velocity. You guys might get a chance to take him on in the 9th inning. Do you think that your teammates are going to be a little extra motivated to try and get him to crack in the 9th inning if you guys go up against him?
Man, I think that, I don't know. It's baseball. He's gonna be there, like probably trying at some point. Maybe is he gonna throw the 9? Maybe, hopefully not. But what I can say about Hader, he's a great guy, great person, great teammate, and I don't think that there's anybody here that wanna like beat him like that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like try to get him like bad because something happens in the past or something like that. Maybe you want to do it because it's your job and you want to put the team in the right position. But he doesn't have like any bad like vibes. Hated. I don't know if you guys know him like ever had before.
Tú sabes, yo sé.
Yeah,
yo sé.
he's awesome, man. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, but you want to beat him. You want to beat his ass. Don't lie.
Yeah, tonight.
You want to beat his ass.
Yeah.
They got a one-run lead. He comes in. You want Rowdy Tellez to go up there and go 3-run Jimmy Jack and freaking trot around the bases. Yeah, you want that. Then you go to dinner after. It's okay. It's okay. I know. It's okay.
Would you go to dinner after if that happened?
I don't know. I may wait until the next day.
Maybe breakfast. Desayuno.
Yeah. Hey, something similar happened to me last year against Abisair Garcia. So most of the year I was, a little uncomfortable with my arm, and I remember late in the year, like late in September, or probably August already. So they were in Milwaukee, and I was like in the bullpen for only 1 inning available, and it's gonna work like my bullpen day, and that way I'll be ready for pitching on Sunday, last game in Milwaukee, and I was able to do it, and I remember Abisair Garcia hit a homer against me, and I was like, my God, Jesus, and he was after the game like, hey, my bad, bro, I I didn't want to do that, and I want to have a lunch with you tomorrow. And we went together to a friend's house, me, Willie, and him, and we were just talking about it. And I was like, God, you couldn't do like a base hit or double or something or not homer with somebody on base. You better than that. And you just remind me that we hate it. And those moments are, when you have good friends in baseball, it's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen here.
Comprar comida? Habitalia?
We just cook at home.
Oh,
great food.
But did he buy the groceries?
Yeah, did you buy?
No.
Did he buy the food? Did he buy lunch? But it was in the house.
No, yeah, the food were in the house.
Because we just had Matthew Boyd on, and he said Aaron Judge bought him dinner, and then the next day he hit 2 home runs off of him.
Oh
So I didn't know
God.
I didn't know if Garcia would be like, "Hey man, I took you deep, so now I buy you lunch the next day."
Oh my God, it should be like that. It's
Yeah,
the way
right?
it's supposed to be. So it's crazy, man. Oh my God, baseball is crazy, but it's fun. It's gonna happen.
You would have to buy everybody because all the people you strike out, you'd be buying everybody dinners.
Oh my God. What about all the bases and doubles that I get and all that kind of stuff? Homers and all that. So
that's fair,
we
that's
even,
fair.
man. We even.
Quiere que Counsell se arrete por resto carrera. Do you want to have Counsell as your manager for the rest of your career?
Oh yeah, of course. I was.
¿Por qué?
He's I don't know. I never had another manager in the big leagues before, but there's some players that come back and forth, and they always talk about it during spring training more, like how it is to be in another team and all that. They don't complain about it, but they see the difference when they come here and see the difference between somebody else and Counsell. He's great. Nothing that I can complain about it. He's the best, man. And I don't know what's gonna happen next. I don't know what he's gonna do, but I wish to have him and for my whole career. But I also know that he played already. He played for a lot of years. He's been managing for a lot of years too, and probably he's in some point he's gonna go and enjoy his family too.
Yeah, and you're still way too damn young. You're gonna outlast Craig Counsell as the manager with you as the player. You got a lot of years left. Hey, I want to ask you about your buddy Woodruff. So he goes on the IL right now, and that's your guy. I mean, remember last time we had you on? You were like, one game to pitch. I'm going Woodruff.
Yeah.
So are you
That's
upset?
my guy.
And we've talked about one of the nicest dudes in the bigs. He's buying dinner for random people he sees at restaurants. So you texting him. What do you think about the injury so far? Are you guys worried about it?
When we we're a little worried about it because you don't wanna like lose somebody like him. You wanna have him in the rotation for a lot of little things because the pitcher that he is, how he's gonna contribute to win every night, and also the impact that he make for us and for the other players too. But he's gonna be around here. He looks good. He just took that decision because I think that's the best for him, and just trying to prevent something bigger. And I was talking with him the last 2 days, and he was like trying to let everybody know that it's not a big deal. It's something that just to prevent we early in the season, and it's something that is just a little inflammation, and it's something that is gonna wear. It's gonna go away back soon, hopefully.
Freddie, you guys have the cheese head. Have you seen the cheese head? The thing they put on the
Yeah.
head?
Oh yeah.
Can you
of
get
course.
it as a pitcher, or is it only position player? Can you get that?
It's only as a position player. So
If you like strike out the side or something, you can't wear the cheese head in the dugout and dance around?
they haven't said anything about it, but I don't think that if I do something like that, if I strike out the side, I don't put it on. I don't like when I am playing, man. When I am the moment, I don't want nobody like close to me. Like
grab it, grab that thing.
After the start.
I want to stay.
Yeah.
After the start.
Yes.
So Freddie, like let's say you go 6 shutout, 7 shutout, whatever, right? And you come out, you're happy. They should. Yeah. They need to acknowledge you guys. Like, where's your prop?
That's a good point, man. If you see something like that in the next, I don't know. If you see it, you can say, oh, it was Freddy's idea because I heard it from you guys. So I'm gonna try it.
Like, is Lauer pitching tonight? Is it Lauer tonight? Who's pitching tonight?
No. We have another pitcher tonight. So I don't know if I'm allowed to. But
well, you can say it because I might want to gamble on it.
No.
Sorry. I'm just joking. Just
Freddie.
Totally joking.
I have a question. If your guy, like in the next few days, like let's say Corbin or Lauer goes 6-7 innings, something like that, and he comes in, can you in the dugout say, guys, You get your fun for just hitting a homer, even if it's a 13-0 game. You guys are celebrating like you won the World Series. We get some love.
I'm going to get and put it on. I will do it.
Thank you.
Like Corbin went 8 shutty the other day with like 2 hits, right? 3 hits?
Yeah, he should.
Yeah, he deserved to have the cheese head on.
Awesome job, man. Awesome. Great.
Freddy.
I thought for one moment that he's going to throw the complete game, but it was good enough. Perfect.
He wanted it, though. We know he wanted it because he's never done it. They always
look at
pull
this.
him after.
You want to see this? You want to see this? Look at this. Look at this.
Oh, Miley, what's up, guy?
I have a headphone. You want to say something?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no. Tell him he's late for breakfast.
Ask him if he's buying a cow today.
Oh, the cow. What about the cow? The cow. Vaca. Eat. How you say cow? Cow, right?
Did he buy a cow? Cow.
Oh, if you buy a cow.
Yeah, I buy them all the time. It's great.
Tell him AJ Przinsky asked.
Oh, my God. He's the best, man.
Go ahead, Kratz. You had something?
¿Qué te hace enojar? What makes you mad? What makes you angry? Because you're always so happy. Tú eres todo tiempo contento.
Yeah, but let me see. You're talking about in baseball, like, or
both.
in
Let's
general?
go one.
El mundo.
Yeah, one on the field, one off the field. Like, what's something in baseball that you're like, we shouldn't do this anymore. I don't like this. Maybe it's a song or a rule, and then something off the field too.
Let me talk about me. Like, something that makes me really bad on the field is about myself. Like, let's say that I have 2 outs and I walk the next batter or something, or I have a batter and 2 strikes and I walk him. Oh my God, you don't want to see my face. It's unbelievable. It's crazy. And sometimes I gotta remind myself that I still in the game, but make me feel bad, yeah, and angry too. But like outside of baseball, what can I say? Let's see. When somebody, like, let's say that we have a dinner or workout during the off season or anything, and we set a time like, oh, I see you 11 a.m. in this place, and you get there like 11:15 or 11:30. That crack me off. I get mad because I like
so
to be
you're a
like,
prompt
if
guy.
I say 11, yeah, I gonna be there at 10:50. You know what I'm saying?
No tarde.
No,
Todo tiempo.
I don't like. I hate that. Yeah, I don't like that.
Who does that in your life? Like, do you have a former or current teammate? Like, is Abasel show up to lunch too late when you played with him?
About the late, I have the perfect guy.
Okay, who you got?
But you know, I get mad, but I don't. Then he do something that makes me feel good again. Willie, all the time.
Willie,
yeah, that means all the time. Oh, Willie, this, because we know each other since I know him since 2014, I think, 2014 or 15. And we've been playing together. We had some practice together before during the off season and all that. And you know, he's like that. So he take his time. And on my way. I'll be there in 5 minutes. No, liar, you're not.
Willie time, right? 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, he'll be there in 20.
Yeah, in 20 at least.
I have a cousin like that. He'll be like, hey, I'm there in 5 minutes. I'm like, you didn't even leave. I know you didn't leave. That means you're about to leave. So it's 5 minutes. Yeah. Willie time.
Yeah.
I like that. Hey, Freddie, good luck out there. Have fun. Tell Wade, enjoy his lunch, and we'll talk to you in a few weeks. All right?
He went for breakfast to lunch. You got the omelet. Now he's going to get the sandwich.
Oh my God! Yeah, I'm gonna let him know. I'll let him know.
Thanks, Freddie.
Thank you,
we'll see you soon. Okay, bud.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
That's good stuff. That's a great spot for him to do an interview.
There was a whole bunch of people behind him.
Brewers.
No, I know. We saw Wade. I was trying to figure out who the other. There was a bunch of people walking behind him. I didn't know who they were, though.
They were double dipping. You got your breakfast 2-3 hours ago, and then they're like, oh, Freddie's keeping the place open because he's on foul territory. Let me go grab some lunch.
I know waiters. I'm texting waiter right now to see if he actually responds. He's definitely in there for a double up. He might even be taking a to-go box.
That's too much time with each other, though, isn't it?
What?
I don't agree.
During that?
Breakfast, lunch,
do
game,
that?
dinner. Yeah. Sometimes you need a break, don't you?
You can. You don't have to. I'm sure it's optional. You don't have to go if you don't want.
Yeah, but I don't know.
You would skip the free brunch. It's probably good too.
Yeah, it's hotel food. You know.
You also can
You're in
go.
San Diego,
grab it.
though. He's in San Diego.
Right.
There's some good spots.
There are.
There's some
In
nice
San
breakfast
Diego.
places in San Diego.
There's some good lunch places right
And you can
there.
eat outside.
Yeah, you can sit outside. There's got great tacos in San Diego. There's a taco joint on every corner in San Diego.
No, that's true.
Good sushi.
So before we get to our social seg, I wanted to just see if you guys had any follow-up because we asked Ken, but alcohol sales extended into the 8th inning. That was the one thing that we didn't get everyone on this side to say. So Matt Strom was not a fan, and neither was Ken. Ken was strong about it. My thing is, we all know decisions are made for one reason in this sport.
Money, 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 money.
That's it, ever.
That's a lock.
What they said, they were losing between $600 and $1 million per game for some of these games. I thought I saw.
I read a whole article, and I wish I would have kept it. It was by Darren Ravel. He does a lot of sports. He does a lot of gambling stuff, but he does a lot of sports marketing things. And they've broken it down of how many pitches it takes for somebody's alcohol content to go down below the legal limit to be safe to safely drive. And it's like 68 pitches. So basically that's why they stopped it in the 7th inning is it wasn't mandatory, but it was suggested. And clearly the last two teams to change it were the Brewers, Miller Park, and the Cardinals, major sponsor Budweiser. But they were the research showed that it cost for every pitch after the 7th inning that they would let alcohol sales happen. It cost the surrounding community $26,000 for each pitch because of drunk driving and deaths and lawsuits. And it was a crazy article. I really wish I would have saved it and sent it to you guys so you could have seen it.
It's a lot. It's money.
It's money.
Just don't drink and drive, please.
There are many options, but
Uber,
that's my thing.
Lyft, I don't know, bicycle.
If you're at a game in an area where they built it up all around, people go right afterwards.
Sure.
And it's what's the difference? Then it's like, oh well, they're not my responsibility, just because it's not.
Don't drink and drive, Scott.
No, that's my point. Is that are we being a little too tight on a 1-inning difference here?
Teams don't think so.
Well, teams just care about money. So I'm going off people that can actually just speak freely.
Well, okay,
and we're not worried about
here's what the
profit.
teams are thinking. The teams are thinking, take St. Louis, Busch Stadium.
Yep.
Would I rather have them drink here in Busch Stadium for an extra inning, or we're going to cut off alcohol sales and the game is 8-2, we're winning, they'll go to Ballpark Village across the street and drink at a random bar.
Bingo.
That's the answer.
Correct.
They want them to drink in the stadium.
Why stop in the 8th?
Why is there a rain delay and the concession stands are open? They tell the players the game's canceled, but they keep it open for like an extra hour. The players are gone. The fans are still sitting there.
Obviously. Food tastes better in the ballpark, right?
And so does that money when they print it.
I know. Yeah, of course. Oh my gosh, there was one Yankee game in the playoffs last year. They kept him there for hours and hours. It was a disaster. I was in New York at the time, and one of my buddies who's just a casual fan was like, I'm never going to a game again. He was like, this is insane. It was like, I think it was like 4 hours. You always knew it wasn't happening. It was just completely botched. And they easily made $20 million off that game. And nothing even happened. Everyone was, and especially to playoff games, to get there early. I think he told me, like, I can look back at the text, like 6-7 hours he was at the ballpark. Not one pitch was thrown.
Well, he stayed.
And he brought his nephews. So they just ate their faces off, paid for tickets. Then it was the next day, during the day.
No one could go. Yeah.
I mean, that's rough. Social-ish. Let's run through some social stuff before we get to our little Q&A with JS9 Innings at the end of the show. Let us start with a home run derby. This was back from, I didn't realize this, the KBO All-Star festivities in 2016. Oh, did I say home run derby? I meant bunt competition.
This is awesome. I love this.
Mina Kimes brought this back up and said, can we bring this to Major League Baseball? Do you think that this would be entertaining for a few minutes at the All-Star game to be able to do this. I actually do, because it's almost like darts at this point, and most of the all-stars can't bunt. So I think it would be great.
I think it'd be awesome. But first of all, you got to get a pitcher throwing harder than Scott Braun would throw it, or Todd Frazier's first pitch, either one.
I would throw it harder than that, but it would hit someone in the seats. So
I think you get someone throwing harder than that, and you get the guys, Trey Turner, Luis Arraez, your single guy, to practice.
Benintendi, he's great at it.
Yeah, he's probably not going to be an all-star, but
Arraez will. So
yeah,
thank
true.
you.
But when I was with the Twins, we used to do this. Our outfield coach Jerry White would take $20 and he'd put it on the thing, and he'd say, if you can stop it on the $20, you get it. We'd have bunting practice.
He'd
put one at first and one at third and say, if you can stop it on the 20, you'd win the 20. And we didn't do it a lot. It was hard. It's harder than you think it is.
Now they have to do it with like a check for $1,000 to entice guys or something like
still
that.
$20. It'll get you a beer.
Guys still want $20.
So then they should bring that back, because, I mean, there's not much bunting in the game anymore. But
make it even better. No, you make Pete Alonso, Stanton, Aaron Judge. Maybe Judge can't bunt. Maybe there's just non-talent.
That's true. Can Aaron Judge bunt?
He wouldn't. I don't think he bunted. When I was trying to think, now that you were saying it, I can't answer to that. Maybe he has so many great traits that he just, like, I glossed over all of his terrible traits, like he can't bunt. Who knows? I guess it's just me now because it's only the screen. So ironically, it all happened. Are you guys back, or are they dead for now?
Is it? It's bad storm.
Yeah.
Oh no, storm.
So we obviously talked about the other day. We talked about our guy at Cleveland, the bat boy, wearing the Yankees uniform, and Michael Kay just absolutely unnecessarily roasting him. And we got video here. We have more information about our guy, Cleveland's bat boy, the long-haired beauty.
Strange to see a Yankee uniform and somebody wearing that uniform with that sort of hair. There are rules. Rules are rules. He's disobeying two of them. I think there's facial hair, and I think there's obviously the hair is below the collar.
But the red shoes.
That's also against the rules.
I don't know. I think I know Michael Kay might have been funny, but I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys think
Michael Kay
being funny?
I hope he was trying to be funny.
I hope he was being sarcastic and funny, because he should know that the Bat Boys are just, one, they're from Cleveland. Cleveland, he's part of the clubhouse staff, and two, like, is he the police? Is he the Bat Boy police?
Look what Reddit said. They were like, "Yo, put that in a bun and put it under the helmet." No. Anthony Rizzo said
Rizzo did it to
mess
him.
with everyone.
But it's pretty funny.
Also, just to add, so two things from me. One is I know Michael Kay pretty well and have had enjoyable conversations with him over the years. Nice guy, but also like he'll get after it like we do, and like he'll criticize shit in baseball that should be criticized.
But that shouldn't be criticized.
No. So my thing with him is I can't tell sometimes if he's being sarcastic or not. So I would tell him that. I'd be like, dude, sometimes I can't tell. If your sarcasm game has to really, if you're doing it, really be like, oh, well, we don't allow that. We all know that. Like, you got to make it obvious for us so that all the Twitter trolls don't go after you. The other thing is the Yankees' facial hair policy is ridiculous and inappropriate at this point. To be able to tell someone how they should have their freaking hair set up on their face.
It's their team.
Get the fuck out of here. It's their team. So tired. You're telling people how they have to look as a human being now. That needs to be retired.
I write your checks. If I write your check, if I write your check,
terrible.
If I write you a check to Scott Braun Enterprises, and I'm foul territory, and I own your contract,
where does it stop? Where's the line?
Facial hair and hair.
No.
They don't tell them anything else.
No.
Do they,
Not
Kratzy?
in today's
They
world.
don't tell them anything else,
Almost
do they?
any other organization cannot tell a legitimate
White Sox
organization.
made me cut my hair once.
Okay, but that was a while ago. I'm saying now the Yankees are the only team that have that anymore.
No.
I think the Marlins had it for a minute. Do they
Because
still have
Don
it?
Mattingly had
Right, because Jeter and them brought it over. But I'm just saying, like, you cannot tell your employees how they look. Can you have blue hair? You can't have blue hair. I don't know. It's too much for me.
Wait, you
Just
can't?
live your life.
I think
don't know.
I think you can tell your employees. I mean, if you have a
No.
handbook, if you have an employee handbook, and that's where it comes from. I mean, it's back in the day. I remember Jim Crane when I went to Houston. He came into the locker room, into the weight room, and he was like, we were joking about Dallas Keuchel's beard. Keuchel was in there. You know, Keuchel spends thousands of dollars to get that thing like perfectly trimmed down the way it is. And Jim's like, in any other of my businesses, nobody can have a beard like that. And yet in this business, it's almost like you should have a beard. You have to have a beard. So I think the Yankees are more like other companies that, hey, you know what? If you're a financial guy, if you're an insurance agent, if you're so many other things, you got to shave. You got to have, you can't have a beard. And that's, to me, the employer. It's okay if the employer says that. I think it's fine.
I would say screw you and your facial hair policy. It's old. Just some things need to change and evolve with the times. I don't know most companies that say you can't have a beard.
There's not a lot of them.
Jim Crane's companies are old then. And I would tell him the same thing. I'd be like, Jim, you should probably retire that. It's just old. And you're going to miss out on talent. In any other industry, people get told. I mean, nowadays they say, hey, we want you in the office 5 days a week. And many of the most talented employees out there will be like, I want to be 3.
You said that to me and I'm here.
You're at home. You're at home.
I'm just saying.
I'm talking about remote hybrid work. I'm just saying I'm passionate about it. I just think it's stupid. Let the guys be themselves.
Oh, you're a millennial.
It's facial hair. It doesn't affect anything.
It does. It affects the Yankee brand.
You have to have rules. Rules are fine. Like
I'm all about rules. But rules for your facial hair, like that's really bothering someone? Does it make someone uncomfortable? Do you feel unprofessional?
George Steinbrenner
Is it hurting the organization?
Intimidated.
Okay,
Johnny Baseball could grow a better
George,
mustache.
George's family should say, hey, I think it's time. The world has changed. We always evolve.
Okay. Let's start a poll.
I'm over it.
Start a poll. Twitter poll.
Yeah, I would like to start a Twitter poll.
Should the Yankees change their facial policy?
The problem is people, I don't know how much faith I have in the people on Twitter.
People have spoken. They're 2 for 2 getting things right.
Let's put it on Instagram. Alicia, our social media specialist. Put it on Instagram, okay?
Instagram.
Nicer.
What's the difference between Instagram and Twitter?
Nicer,
demographic.
Younger, more.
Let's do both. We can do both, can't we?
Yeah, we can do both.
Okay.
All right. So, one more thing I want to do on social.
Put it on TikTok too.
TikTok, you guys have no chance. You'll get
and
absolutely wiped
Facebook.
out. Wiped out on TikTok. TikTok audience will be like, wait, that's a thing? They won't even know about the facial hair policy. Because
they don't know about rules.
Yeah, because they don't like rules. Hey, Shohei Ohtani, his impression of Anthony Rendon grabbing the fan, and the face he makes, priceless. The face is the best part for me from Rendon. He's like,
the only thing that would have made that better is if you would have actually grabbed Rendon like that. Like Rendon was standing over the little railing and he grabs him like that. It's good they're making fun of it though, because that means it's kind of moved past. Once you can start making fun of things, then you've kind of moved past it, right?
I mean, yes, but Rendon's not pictured in there, is he?
No.
No, I bet he'd do it to his face. I bet 100%. Did you ever see the video of Kipnis after the Odor Bautista fight? Odor slid into second base and Kipnis tagged him out and he like went like this.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
It's never too soon. Like you always got to test that border.
That was great. I remember that. Okay. By the way, and then let's bring on Josh. The Rays, we're down 3-1?
Mm-hmm.
And now what's the score?
8-3.
Okay. So can't wait to lead off the show again with the Rays for Friday's FT Live.
I mean, Trisha Whitaker, she can't. She's
living the life. Yeah. Slap hands, baby. So a 7 spot for the Rays in the 5th inning. That'll get the job done. Let's bring in Josh Shiffman.
Most of it with 2 outs.
Hey, they're unfazed right now. They are just rolling over teams.
And the Red Sox have no core.
Correct. No core. That's why you need to tighten your core. Core tight. Hey, and we're way past time. We're on a roll here again. Josh Shiffman with us, JS9 Innings on Instagram, polling his people. And Josh, let's cut it down to 2 questions today, and we'll do one another time, because I want to ask you about your thoughts on the facial hair policy that the New York Yankees still have, telling human beings how they can decorate their face.
So thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. The first time was awesome. I really had a blast. So with the Yankees like facial hair policy, I mean, it's a little outdated for me. I think players should be able to do whatever they want. I mean,
dude, you can't even grow facial hair, so your opinion doesn't even count. Okay,
he's got a little scruff.
I actually grow facial hair pretty quickly. It's bad.
Next time we have you on, I want full Dallas Keuchel beard.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah. And we won't stop you because we don't have an outdated facial hair policy. Okay. We're an accepting organization here at Foul Territory / Make Plays Media. Do whatever the hell you freaking want. All right. Pick two of your questions. I think the Rays one will be good because they're still winning. So you want to start there?
So they just had a 7-run 5th inning. So the Rays are 12-0. And the Diamondbacks are in first place, but they have a negative run differential. Are these teams as good as their records show? And do you think they can win their respective divisions?
Kratz, you want to answer this one first?
Yeah, this is easy. We have no idea. We sit here and we did not pick the Rays to win the division 2 weeks ago. We didn't pick the Diamondbacks to win the division. But I think what it does show is that people have no idea what's going on. And I think if I'm going to choose one of those 2 teams, I'm going to choose the Rays to win the division, because you don't just rattle off 12 wins. As much as Brawny is hating on the fact that they're playing a bunch of Division III colleges, they are winning, and they are winning decisively.
I agree.
Agreed. Here's the thing about the Rays. They're more than likely going to win their 13th in a row, and there's 2 teams that have done it, the 82 Braves who made the playoffs and the 87 Brewers who didn't even make the playoffs. But if the Rays go 500 for the rest of the way and you're 12 games over, like they are now, that's 93 wins.
Playoffs.
Yeah, right?
I picked them as a playoff team.
No, it's a little bit less.
Did you?
87 wins.
You did not.
I did not, because I was a homer.
Nope. I picked them as a playoff team. I did have the Blue Jays winning the division, which is certainly attainable. They're 4 games back. But
they play 500, they're at 87 wins.
Yeah.
Which will get you most of the time in the playoffs. The Diamondbacks, for me, are just hot. I don't know if they have the sustainability to win the division with the Padres and the Dodgers, and maybe throwing the Giants in that too. But they're a nice story because I like their team and I like the way they play. So the Rays definitely have the better chance of winning the division.
Agreed. Much better chance in my mind. Arizona's just not there yet. I like what they're building now, because they're building 100%. A team that's got that speed, athleticism, a little bit of Cleveland factor going on. Gallen for me is a 1. Merrill Kelly's maybe a 3, I guess. But
they got some
solid
swag,
starters.
Though. They got swag when they play.
And they're young.
Yeah.
I like that ball club. Yeah. Not winning the division in my mind, though. I still got Padres 1, Dodgers 2. I could see Diamondbacks 3, San Francisco 4. That's how I'd rate it. All right, one more.
So, which teammate had the biggest impact on your baseball careers and why?
AJ, you go first.
I'm going to say teammate. I'm going to say Tom Prince, who was my backup catcher when I first came up. He kind of taught me a lot of things that I didn't know. He was I made fun of him how old he was. I was like 22, 23 years old, and he was like 55. And but he was there for me. He was the backup catcher. He knew what his role was, and he just taught me things. And he taught me how to be a big leaguer. He taught me how to play every day. And whenever I run into him, or every once in a while, we'll share a text or a phone call. And he was just awesome. He was that veteran guy that I needed to teach me the ways.
Princey's the absolute peach. Absolute peach. Do you want mine too, Josh?
Of course. What, Kratz, did you play in the big leagues? I mean, I'm not commenting on this one.
Well, I know. I just thought, I didn't know if we were just doing one. So for me, honestly, I have one funny story and one quick. Raul Ibanez is, when I made the big leagues, he was 39. And I was like, man, I want to look like that guy and work like that guy does when I'm 39. And I thought myself, and I looked in the mirror, I'm like, I did not look anything like Raul Ibanez looks like at 39 years old. And so I really kind of just watched him and like talked to him and like a lot of nutritional things and mindset wise. He just had and still has just an incredible mindset about life and about how to succeed in the big leagues. And I always tell people that in AAA, one of the big people that really pushed me towards like more of a positive outlook on baseball when a lot of people were negative. I made it up to AAA, and the hitting coach now with the Rays, his name is Chad Mottola, and he was like a can't miss prospect in the minor leagues, but at this point he was kind of at the end of his career, and he was like a positive influence, he always had a positive outlook. I would never say he was a positive influence, but a positive outlook on the game. And at that point in AAA, a lot of guys were very negative. And the story I always tell people is like, well, what did Chad Mottola teach you? We would go back into the clubhouse after a game, and some guys would, they'd go shower, and then they'd go and eat their spread. So the one day I sit there and I went and showered, put my street clothes on, and I go and I eat, and we were having ribs. And he was like, why did you shower? I was like, well, I didn't want to smell. And I stuttered through my answer. He leans back. He had just finished his ribs. He leans back. He goes, if you don't shower, you can just do this. And he takes his fingers and just wipes his rib fingers, his barbecue sauce all over his shirt. And he's like, then you just throw it in the wash. Now you got to worry about it getting on your clothes. Little stuff like that.
So we're going to get Chad Mottola on now because he's an Orlando guy, so I'm going to get him on and I'm going to ask him the rib story. And 2, quit kissing Raul Ibanez's ass. He hung up on you on our interview, and we all know you want to work for MLB someday and be a big shot coach. Quit kissing Raul Ibanez's ass, please. Forget.
He's the
He
guy.
hung up on you. Boom. And then you called him back, and he hung up on you again.
Real friends hang up on people. Fake friends feel like they need to stay.
Is that why Aaron Judge won't call you back?
Yeah. Aaron Judge is your friend. He just doesn't pick up the phone. Josh, thank you so much, man. We'll do it again soon, okay?
Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Awesome talking to you guys as always.
Josh, I'm glad you've decorated your dorm since last time we had you on.
Oh, of course. Just for you. Just for you.
Just wait. Beard coming next time. Okay, so before Kratz Hats, let's show Joe Adell just absolutely tearing through minor league baseball right now. And I guess kind of posing the question, when does he come back up?
Dude, I've heard about Joe Adell for, it feels like 10 years.
Yeah, but he's not that old yet.
I know, but it feels like the Angels have been talking about Joe Adell for 10 years. And every time he comes up, he goes like 1 for 70. They send him back AAA, hits 8 homers in 8 games, and they call him back up, and then he goes back down.
Well, there's a word for that. It's called a quad A player.
Right-handed hitting left fielder swings and unloads on a ball in the air to right center field. Heading towards the pool is Bleday. In the notch in right center, JJ leaps up, and this one's out of here. Wouldn't be a trip to Las Vegas for the Salt Lake Bees if Joe Adell did not homer. That is his 8th career home run here at Las Vegas Ballpark. It's his league-leading 8th of the year, and the Bees have now led off back-to-back innings with home runs. It's a 6-2 game.
And that is why they need baseball in Salt Lake City.
That was in Vegas, though. They also need baseball in Vegas with the pool.
Well, that's coming. But
Salt Lake City Bees. See, I played for the Salt Lake City Buzz before the Buzz got taken away from them. They had to become the Bees.
Why? Because it's too much.
Because Georgia Tech, the Georgia Tech boosters are called the Buzz. So they sued them and made them change it to the Bees.
That is
But
ridiculous.
the guy who owned the Salt Lake City Buzz was a guy named Joe Buzard. So he named it kind of after himself. That's why it was the Buzz.
See, I would have said that then he has proof that he can call the team the Buzz. Whatever. Anyway, he's 24 years old, Joe Adell. So
I know, again, but it's every time you turn on an Angels game, like, yeah, Joe Adell is a super prospect. And then he doesn't do anything. They send him back AAA and he hits homers and then he comes back. It's like, it's a vicious cycle. It sucks for the kid.
Yeah, no, it does suck. And not everybody is going to be living to their potential right away. Called up at 21 or something.
Yeah.
So Kratz Hats, what do you got?
Joe Adell does rake, by the way. Played on Team USA together. He does rake, but they got to give him an extra shot. There you go. Wow, look at that. Is that ironic?
Is that the Salt Lake City Bees?
It is.
Wow. Go Buzz.
Go Buzz. Yep. Salt Lake City Bees got to play there. Actually got to play in a humble brag, AAA AAA All-Star game there in 2011, 2010. Now I'm forgetting, so I guess it wasn't that memorable.
Sneaky,
2011.
Sneaky, great city.
Yeah.
Not sneaky. Very great.
But
Like-
I was there 3 years, for parts of 3 years. If they can support a baseball team, it's incredible. Beautiful views, ball flies.
Well, that would be fun.
Ball flies, great places, great views, great fans. If we packed it every night.
Nice people, very energetic.
Nice
yes.
people, yes.
I have an announcement here. A third new host this week being announced tomorrow. Jackie Robinson Day is on Saturday. We are going to honor the day on Friday. Of course, we're not on Saturday. Adam Jones will be back with us. Andrew McCutcheon is joining us. Your boy Kratzy. It is going to be an absolutely stacked show. We will see you 1 o'clock Eastern time live on YouTube. FT Live celebrating Jackie Robinson Day. Long weekend for you. See you Monday, AJ.
Have a great week.